We're live! We're live! Sorry guys, it's late. I just got done throwing up because my dog threw up and I had to clean it, so then I threw up. Great way to start a show. I'm telling you about that. Ugh. Damn, Echo. I don't know why he's got to do that on the carpet when there's a wood floor out there. Anyway. Coffee. Notebook. Alright. What do we got today? Not a whole lot in the show today. That's fine. Music is loud. Music is loud. Yeah, not good times. Alright, Floor. Alright, Floor. Calm down. Calm it down, Floor. Okay. Tornadoes all over America. Tornadoes are rampaging through America. More signs of apocalyptic weather. Israel updates. Apparently there's some tent city. Not like the tent cities in America where all the college kids are. But there's a big tent city in Palestine. And Israel's going to raid it. And Tim Walberg, who's like a congressman or something in America, says that we should nuke Israel. Or Gaza, I mean. He says we should nuke Gaza. He says it needs to look like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Now, we know that nukes are fake on this channel. But we'll look into that. And then a quick little segment about the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts are not going to be called the Boy Scouts anymore. They're changing their name. And we'll do a little blast from the past about how they started letting girls in. And then they started having a bunch of other crazy stuff going on. And I think the Boy Scouts, it's safe to say that they're pretty much over. But we'll talk about that. And then reels, memes, rapid fire, all the fun stuff. And end the show. We will look at Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong! Dissecting a Dictator. Mao Zedong. You could say Mao Zedong, or you could say Mao Zedong. We'll cover that. That commie. All right. That's it. Let's get into the show. The nukes are coming. Okay. All right. You know what I just realized today is that my swamp cooler doesn't work, but I have like a unit, an air conditioner unit in my room, but it doesn't work that great. So, but every year during the summer, you know, it works enough while I'm sleeping at night. It works just fine to keep me cool at night. Well, now that I work at night and I sleep during the day, this thing is not keeping up. I was sweating all day. You just watch Baby Reindeer? Yeah, it's super gay. Super, super gay. Like all the nastiest stuff. Not just gay, but Transformer. He falls in love with a Transformer. He gets raped after being drugged with acid and GHB and Molly and smoking crack and all this other stuff, and then he gets raped. That show is horrible. That's one of the, I got one episode left, so I haven't seen the ending yet. But I only watched it because I saw Piers Morgan Uncensored. He interviewed the real woman, and apparently that whole show is a lie, but they claim it's a true story. So it starts out, it says, this is based on a true story. Or it doesn't even say this is based on a true story. It says this is a true story. And apparently none of it's true. Apparently this Richard Gadd guy is just some scumbag loser who wanted to make a show about him having an imaginary stalker and sleeping with gays and trans people. Show is horrible. Show is a lie. It's not greatly made. They're not great actors. They're British. That means they're not good actors automatically. And it's gross. It's a gross show and it's fake. Definitely super gay. Yeah. That woman looks pretty crazy. If you ask me, I've watched the interview 3 times and she contradicts herself a lot. She does give qualifying statements. So when he says, "Did you write 41,000 emails to him?" She says, instead of just saying no, you should an innocent person would just say no. I didn't do that. But she says, "If I did, I would know about it. Don't you think, PS? If I did, wouldn't I know about it, PS?" That's not a no. That's called a qualifying statement. That's like when you say, "I'm not sure." If somebody says, "Did you murder your mother?" and you say, "I'm not sure. I don't think so." That's a qualifying statement so that later you can't really they can't say you lied because you said, "I'm not sure. I don't know, maybe." Oh, qualifying statement. So you're right. But also, you're also kind of wrong. Maybe she did write him 41,000 emails and she was kind of crazy, but she never went to jail. It's easy to check those records. And Pierce's team did. Lady's never been arrested. She's never been to jail. She's never assaulted anybody. Um, I don't know if the fake lawyer thing is true. I'm sure they could look into that, and I'm sure they did. And he didn't call her out on that. So maybe she did write a lot of emails to him, but they're like little 2-line emails. I think they're like way blowing that out of proportion, Floor, because they're not. They're basically like little instant messages. They're really short emails. It's not like she's writing him a 2-page email every time she emails him. It's like a little 2-sentence thing. I mean, we might have 41,000 messages, not in a year. So that is kind of crazy. But her nephew just came out and he did stated she was in jail for 4 months, but she changed her name. He also has proof of that. I haven't heard anything about that. That could be fake too, because Pierce's team checked into it. And they had Dr. Drew. Did you see the panel they did on Pierce Morgan where they all got together and talked about it? Dr. Drew was there, Critical Drinker, and some other people. I don't know. But anyway, regardless, um, show's gross. Show's gross. What's up, Steve Will? What's up, Mayhem? All right, let's get into this news. I'm only kidding y'all. Josh is not a racist. Only been called one in a debate. Oh, I've been called much worse. I've been called much worse. That's fine. All right, let's see what's happening with these tornadoes.
A happy place comes in many colors.
Hold on, let's let this ad play. And we'll watch this scene from AP. I think this is one of those silent ones. A little damage.
Just gotten home. My wife was home cooking dinner.
Spring Hill, Tennessee.
Didn't have much warning. Once we knew that it was happening and we saw what was coming, I knew that it wasn't right. We got downstairs. That's all we could do.
Could you see it? Anything from up here?
You could see it coming across the hill, but you couldn't tell what it was.
These tornadoes are like...
You could definitely hear it and you could feel
something
it.
like 600 tornadoes.
Like a pressure or like a...
Oh, you could feel the rumble. You could actually feel it coming. I can't explain it. It was like 10 trains going down the road at one time. I mean, the force was so...
That's what, when the jail I was in got hit by a tornado, it sounded like a train was running over the jail. And it was crazy because the jail had these windows that were like... It was like a sheet of plexiglass, basically. It was a solid window. You can't, there's no opening it. It's just a solid slot with a metal frame in a brick wall, just a piece of plexiglass. And when the tornado went over, water, I woke up because first I was getting sprayed with water. I thought my cellmate or something was splashing water on me. and because I was on the top bunk and the window was right by my head, and then the sound came and that woke me up. But first, it was the water was coming in, and they had like a putty around the edges. Somehow water was coming through all around the sides of the window. It was like spraying me. And I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. How could that even happen? But it did. I don't know.
Strong coming through our basement that it blew the doors out going to the back of the house.
Funnel clouds, no touchdowns.
What was coming through the house from the upstairs.
That guy does look like Mr. Incredible. This is a horrible. This is why more people die from chainsaw accidents. Why would you show this on the news, bro? More people die from chainsaw accidents and messing with power generators after like a hurricane or a tornado than actually die in the storm. Because this guy's out here reaching way out, standing on a bucket on a damn dozer or a front loader, and out with a chainsaw like this. This guy's crazy. And they're showing it on the news. Come on, bruh. Come on, bruh.
But missed where me and my wife staying about 4 inches.
I mean,
it went around, and it hit prey to prey.
The only thing worse would be if he had a ladder.
I'm telling you, I just got done praying. So Lord, please don't let nobody get hurt.
Anyway.
A happy place comes in many colors. Like
Anyway, okay. Columbia, Tennessee, dangerous storms crashed over parts of the South on Thursday, even as the region cleaned up from earlier severe weather that spawned tornadoes, killed at least 3 people, and gravely injured a boy who was swept into a storm drain. What? Bro, it got him? Everything floats down here, Georgie. Maybe not a gravely injured little boy. Everything else floats down here, Georgie. What? It gravely injured a boy who was swept into a storm drain as he played in the flooded street. Wow, it was down there. I knew it was real. Pennywise got him. A heavy line of storms swept into Atlanta near the end of the morning rush hour. Busy hub airports in Atlanta and Charlotte, North Carolina reported delays. The National Weather Service's Storm Prediction Center cited an enhanced risk for severe weather from Texas to South Carolina. An emergency manager reported significant wind damage from a possible tornado Thursday afternoon in the Vidalia, Georgia area, a region known for producing onions. Poor kid. He didn't die, though. He was just injured. But yes, poor kid. Pennywise got him. Storm continues a streak of torrential rains and tornadoes this week from the plains to the Midwest and now the Southeast. Since Monday, 39 states have been under threat of severe weather and at least 4 people have died. On Wednesday and Thursday, about 220 million people were under some sort of severe weather risk. That's 2/3 of the country. With some in danger multiple days, said Matthew Elliott, a Storm Prediction Center forecaster. More than 100,000 homes and businesses still lack power Thursday afternoon in several southern states. One in Tennessee damaged homes, injured people, toppled power lines and trees, and killed a 22-year-old man in a car in Claiborne County, north of Knoxville, officials said. A second person was killed south of Nashville and Columbia, the seat of Maury County, where officials said a tornado with 140-mile-per-hour winds damaged or destroyed more than 100 homes. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee said the woman who died in Maury County was a mobile home, was thrown several feet into a wooded area. Lee visited emergency managers and debris. Later, Lee told reporters it's heartbreaking to see families who have been affected by the tornado. So, Tallahassee got hit with a tornado. Woman killed as Tallahassee faces what may be its worst tornado strike in history. This is from, I don't know what this is from. I'll look it up in a second. Hold on one second. Play this. out seating like a mug. Yeah, I think you might be right there, Steve. Yep. A lot of crazy weather patterns going on. One of the signs of the apocalypse. And it's like, it's not as bad as the one we covered last week that ripped up that whole town. What was I just saying? Oh, I'm not like a doomsdayer apocalypse guy, but it does talk about crazy weather is a sign of the end times. But I feel like we say that every year. Every year the weather just gets worse and worse, crazier and crazier weather every year. And so maybe it's not even crazy yet. Maybe it's going to get way, way worse. Ban all tornadoes. Ban the tornadoes. A line of severe thunderstorms and a possible tornado roared through Tallahassee Friday morning, leaving a large swath of damage. That's a cool word, swath. Downed trees, tangled power lines, and buildings with their roofs sheared off. The violent storms crashed into the city amid the rush to get high school students to school. Schools across the city were subsequently closed, and a woman was tragically killed. Isn't that ironic? You're like rushing to get the kids to school during a storm, and then you just decide no school today. Then now you got to rush to get them home. You brought them all the way to the school just so the school could be closed. Now you got to get them back home. Woman was tragically killed when a tree crashed into her home. That would suck. Because I bet you that would not be, well, I don't know. Facing the kind of damage and numbers that accompany hurricanes, the city of Tallahassee expects it will take some time to get the estimated 70,000 people reconnected to the power grid. The apocalypse smelled like pine. Residents of Indian Head and Myers Park stranded amid the debris. Whoa, let's see these pictures. Full gallery. Yep, that's a tree on a car. 66 pictures. Oh, yeah, I just talked to my mom yesterday for Mother's Day. I didn't ask her. Actually, we did talk about the weather. Because what else do you talk to your mom about, you know? Yeah, she said it's been rainy she said it's been hot down there, hot and humid. Whoa, fire. Okay. Dang, yeah, that's a whole tree on your house. That looked like my grandma's house, but she doesn't live in Tallahassee. A roundabout. Roundabouts are so stupid. All right. All right. What is that? It's like the Sydney Opera House or something. Miniature. Construction site looks all right. That car's done. It was a big old tree. All right. Cool. Not cool, but I don't know. Weather is cool. Crazy storms are pretty cool. It's not cool that when people die, but it is crazy.
Hi folks, John Daly, Mayor of Tallahassee. I want to take a second to update you what's going on the ground here in our community. The storm that came through this morning was one of the most powerful storms that we've probably seen in the past 10 years. We are confirming that we had 3 tornadoes that came through the area, and we had wind gusts between 80 and 100 miles per hour. As a result, we had a lot of destruction. Many of you have seen it firsthand.
It's a tree house.
Or you've seen it in the pictures, and others have seen it as well. We've been working really hard to bring our community back and to restore power. And from an electric utility standpoint, we have a lot of damage. We have substations that are down. We have transmission lines that are down. We have distribution lines that are down. We have over 100 electric utility poles that were snapped in half. We've spent the day with our partners clearing debris so that we can get to the infrastructure to be able to restore the power. I want to thank the men and women of the city of Tallahassee for the hard work that they're doing and will continue to do. I want to
thank you,
thank the
Governor.
Leon County men and women that have.
All right, that's enough of that. One more story about the tornadoes. 600 tornadoes. Look back. America endures 2 weeks under severe weather siege of over 600 tornado warnings. Late April and early May are square in the severe weather season, but this season has featured 2 weeks of relentless storms that have given scant breaks and instead have sent residents scrambling for shelter across the U.S. Tornado report. There's the calendar. So 7, 24 in a day here, 108 in one day on Friday, April 26th. Wow, 108 tornadoes in a day. The daily app in May it was worse. This is just April. May was worse. The average in May is 13 a day. The average in April is 10 a day. But April has one day with 108. April 26th. I think we talked about some of these tornadoes. Omaha, all over the place. Omaha had 48 tornado warnings. See what these people are talking about. There's going to be an ad.
Meet the traveling
I don't want to
trio.
see the ad. Violent web shape in Iowa. Iowa tornado being trapped in basement during tornado. I think we talked about the Iowa one last week. So we probably don't need to watch this. Yeah, we've seen this last week.
For your area, that is the highest level of threat that can come through. You need to take those very seriously. I mean, and clearly the images out of Iowa, out of Nebraska are just...
I was wondering this last week. I'm going to Google it. I'm going to Google it right now. When did the tornado F scale change to the EF scale? Oh my God, my stomach hurts so bad right now. 2007. Enhanced Fujita scale. Remember I said that it used to be called the Fujita scale? February 1st of 2007, they changed it to the EF scale, which means the Enhanced Fujita scale. Still rating them on a 0 to 5, but ranges and wind speed will be more accurate with the improved rating scale. Yeah. I knew it was F scale when I was a kid. It was the Fujita scale. They changed it to the Enhanced Fujita scale. Interesting. Interesting. Everything's getting enhancements. Everything's being enhanced. So that's pretty crazy. Crazy storms, tornadoes all over the place. Look at this. Severe weather warnings recap. Multiple severe storm threat. Tornadoes all over the country. Huh. Yeah, it does. It's odd. Seems like they're trying to like wipe out middle America with these tornadoes. Are they artificial tornadoes to wipe out middle America? How come they're not hitting California? How come they conveniently dodge New York? Chicago got some though, St. Louis. So maybe that's not a very accurate assessment. Atlanta. And what else do I have? All right. So that's that. Let's do some Israel updates. Israel-Palestine updates. Let's move on from this. So apparently there's this tent city, a Palestinian tent city in a place called Rafah. And Israel's been saying we're going to raid it. They might have done it by now. Oh my God, my stomach hurts so bad right now. Oh, this is so... Hold on, guys. I gotta... let's see if I can find a video to play. I'll be right back. Oh, this is the UPenn campus.
.com's real.
Hold on one second. It's going to be a rough show, guys. I'm not feeling too good today. This is only a minute long. I need more than a minute. I'll be right back. Watch this. This has nothing to do with the rock or stuff.
I know they have it. That's why I'm not blaming you guys. I'm blaming them, but I'm not going to count that.
Can Stonyfield organic yogurt with high-quality ingredients and no harmful pesticides save the world? Maybe not, but it could save you from saying, we have food at home. Again. Stonyfield Organic. Good on purpose.
So this is pickleball?
Pickle!
Oh, these guys are intense. With E-Trade from Morgan Stanley, we're ready for whatever gets served up.
Dude, you gotta work on your trash talk.
I'd rather work on saving for retirement. Or college, since you like to get schooled. That's a pretty good burn, right?
When my friends talk about people they know or people they've met, we always take the mick and say, oh, if you drop the names, I'll pick them up for you.
I tell you who does that. James Corden. He does that all the time.
Yeah.
I go to him, I really like your shoes, and he goes, yes, Stella McCartney. I'm like, I didn't ask you who made them. I just said I like your shoes. But he constantly throws out names.
He always is.
When he got to America, he was, played the LA game really well.
Kissing all the right people.
Oh,
Anna
God.
Wintour.
Oh, she loves him.
I know that, yeah.
Loves him. But who loves Anna Wintour?
Exactly, Anna Wintour.
I think she's the C word.
Yes, she is. And Ellen DeGeneres, she's as bad.
Can Stonyfield Organic Yogurt with high-quality ingredients and no harmful pesticides save the world? Can yogurt teach us to be better people with a deeper appreciation of the earth and each other? That's a lot to ask of yogurt. But if it's a really good yogurt, it could save you from saying, we have food at home. For the millionth time. Stonyfield Organic. Good on purpose.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm not feeling good today. My stomach is not doing too hot. More ads. Yeah, I got a serious problem. Here. Let's play one of the Mao Zedong videos. Sorry, guys. It's going to be... I don't even know if I should be doing this show today, but I can't miss it. But I do not feel good. Let's watch a video about Mao. And then I'll chat with you guys. I'll bring my phone in there. The people's profiles. This is out of order.
The man known to history as Mao Zedong, or
Mao
Chairman
Zedong.
Mao.
Really, there's not a lot of news this week. We will talk about the Israel stuff, but watch this little documentary about Mao. And I'll be back and I'll take my phone and I'll chat with you guys in the chat while I'm on the toilet. Oh, God.
Was born on the 26th of December 1893 in the village of Shaoshan in the province of Hunan in southern China. His father was Mao Yichang, who had been raised in a family of poverty-stricken peasants. However, After serving in the Xiang army for a few years in his youth, Yi Chang had returned to his native region and begun working as a farmer. He soon acquired enough money to become a lender in the district, and this, combined with his agricultural work, allowed him to become one of the more prosperous farmers in the Shaoshan area, eventually coming into possession of about 20 acres of land. Mao's mother was Wen Qimei, a devout Buddhist who had a troubled upbringing. Her father was a poor shoemaker who drank heavily, and her mother had been his concubine. Mao's childhood was less than ideal. His father was a strict disciplinarian whose method of parenting primarily involved beating Mao and his 3 siblings if they did not do as they were told. Their mother tried to temper his outbursts, but with little effect. Young Mao developed an interest in his mother's Buddhism when he was younger, though he soon became disenchanted with religion, and when he was just 8 years old, he was sent to the local primary school in Shaoshan. Just as the 20th century was dawning, his education there was a mixture of traditional Chinese learning centered on Confucianism combined with the centuries-old values of the Far East, along with a sprinkling of influences from the encroaching Western world which could not be avoided in China by the 1900s. Additionally, the young Mao developed an interest early on in history and politics. When he was 13 years old, his father arranged for him to be married to Liu Yixiu, the 17-year-old daughter of another prosperous local farmer. But Mao demonstrated his rebellious streak at a young age and refused to honor the arranged marriage, causing something of a controversy in the Shaoshan area. And as a result of this disagreement, the teenage Mao temporarily left his father's farm, although he returned before very long. Mao was growing up at a time when China was experiencing momentous change. Like Korea and Japan to the east, China had first come into contact with European traders and religious missionaries in the 16th and early 17th centuries. And like them, the Chinese had quickly become wary of the newcomers and had restricted their contacts with them to 1 or 2 ports in the southeast of the country, where a tiny amount of trade was conducted. It continued like this for nearly 2 centuries, with China remaining largely closed to a world which was modernizing without it. It remained highly conservative in its religious, social and political values, changing little and continuing to be ruled by an emperor and a closed government of imperial rituals and administrators as it had been for centuries. But by the mid-19th century, China again, like Japan and Korea, could no longer prevent the Europeans, with their modern warships, guns and industrial power, from interfering in their countries. With the Opium Wars of 1839 to 1842 and 1856 to 1860, Britain forced China to end its self-imposed isolation, following which China experienced a flood of European contact, and with it came not just British opium, but ideas about different types of government, new economic developments, and all manner of technological innovation. Perhaps the most striking and revolutionary of these new ideas, which arrived into China from the mid-19th century onwards, was the knowledge that the Europeans and the Americans were not ruled by powerful monarchs and emperors anymore. Many lived under republics governed by the people, and even where some of these countries still had emperors or empresses such as Queen Victoria in Britain, she was essentially a figurehead, and it was Parliament that actually ruled the British Empire. Moreover, these democracies were not all alike. Some were very conservative, some were more liberal, and some had different degrees of economic development. And there were also competing ideas about how they should be reformed and developed, with some wanting the wealthy to hold a great amount of power, and others who believed that power and wealth should be distributed
commies.
Equally throughout society.
Power and wealth should be distributed equally throughout society. That's communism. Okay, that's for later in the show. Just a little sneak preview. We will get back to that. Let's look at this Rafah encampment stuff, and then we'll get back to Mao. Just a little sneak peek at Mao. Palestinians are fleeing Rafah's tent cities. This is from CNN World. Fleeing Rafah's tent cities in large numbers as the threat of potential major Israeli assault in the southern Gaza City looms. New satellite imagery from Planet Labs shows. CNN has identified, well, satellites aren't real, though. CNN has identified several camps sheltering Gaza's vast refugee population, including the main camp in central Rafah that housed thousands of tents, which have significantly decreased in size between Tuesday and Wednesday. Although some camps in Rafah did see a decrease in population earlier in the week, the majority of camps identified by CNN saw their greatest decline since Tuesday. May 5th, this is all the tents in the tent city. May 8th, not as many, I guess. Look at this. Look at these people riding on the roof of the van. That's funny. All over, they just ride on the roofs. Some of the tent camps have been in United Nations schools, others in open fields or along roadways for months. Now a significant number have vanished, but many remain in the camps despite orders from Israeli defense forces to leave. At least 110,000 Palestinians have fled Rafah since Monday after the IDF issued an evacuation order, according to the UN's Agency for Palestine Refugees. UNRWA. That's a horrible acronym. Streams of Palestinians made their way to Al-Mawasi earlier this week following an Israeli relocation order. The head of Norwegian Refugee Council, NRC, Jan England, warned that dire conditions there, including a lack of stable security, adequate accommodation, or space, qualifies Israel's relocation directives as forcible transfer, amounting to a serious violation of international law. So here's Rafah. This is the Gaza Strip in Israel. This little tiny piece of land that we all are freaking out about. Little strip of land. It's just a little strip of land. Evacuation area. They need to get out of there and go to there. Israel's offensive has since pulverized patches of the Gaza Strip and drastically diminished critical supplies, exposing the entire population to more than 2.2 million people to the risk of famine. Israeli attacks in Gaza have killed 34,904 Palestinians, allegedly, and injured another 78,000. International pressure is growing for Israel not to move in on the densely populated city bordering Egypt. During nearly 7 months of war, more than 1 million Palestinians have taken refuge in Rafah. Hamas is also believed to have regrouped in the area after Israel's destruction of much of the Strip's north. So they're raiding the tent city. Meanwhile, in America, we got our own tent cities at college campuses. A bunch of white college girls wearing this is not a hijab. I forget what they call these. Basically wearing a terrorist scarf. A bunch of liberal white girls wearing terrorist scarves camping out in colleges. And the cops have been running in and busting it up. Look, overweight liberal white girl. Overweight liberal white girl with a hijab. Overweight liberal white girl with a terrorist scarf. Interesting. Have you guys seen Elijah went on Tim Pool and they had a huge debate, discussion, argument over Israel. And Mary was there and Mary agreed with Elijah, but she didn't say anything. Well, Tim asked her, "What do you think, Mary?" And she's like, I'm not very informed on this and I don't want to talk about it, but I agree with Elijah. And Tim didn't like that. Tim is losing his mind. But Elijah went on Tim Pool's show and then he went on Fresh and Fit and he's been going hard in the paint. He's back in America. Whoa, get that off my screen. That looks like a nipple. Elijah is back in America, baby. Let's go. I gotta make dinner too. Places orders for Domino's. Be right back. Gotta make dinner. Fun fact, Tucker Carlson used to work for CNN. Did you wash your hands before returning to work, Josh? Wash my hands before returning to work. I'm not at work. This is not work. Tim always losing his mind. Is that the mayor where you are? Michigan? Are you in Michigan? No, you're not in Michigan. It's a Michigan congressman. So while the tent city, the real Palestinian tent city, is getting raided, the fake Palestinian tent cities in America are also getting raided. Let's watch this.
Their safety. Now, the UN announced that as of this morning, more than 100,000 Palestinians have fled the city of Rafah in southern Gaza. Many civilians had originally been ordered by Israel to come here for their safety. Now they say they have nowhere to go. We are tired, says this man. Either they should kill us all at once and send us up to God, or they should stop the war. But Prime Minister Netanyahu is determined to press on with an offensive against Rafah, saying Israel is prepared to act alone and fight with only our fingernails if necessary. But adding, we have much more than our fingernails. Netanyahu also spoke in a lengthy and non-confidential...
Is that Dr. Phil? Dr. Phil interviewed Benjamin Netanyahu. They said, we'll fight with our fingernails if necessary. But we got more than fingernails, by the way. Emphasis on overweight. I was pretty sure Elijah moved to Australia to avoid getting thrown in with the J6 political prisoners. Hope he is safe. Yeah, either that. Well, I thought that or some very high-level, powerful people wanted him dead. One or the other. But he's back in America now.
Confrontational interview with talk show host Dr. Phil. He took aim at protests on college campuses in the U.S., where demonstrators continued to clash with police overnight.
You have a lot of ignorant.
Oh, that was a overweight black girl.
People there whose sense of history at best goes back to breakfast, not even that.
He addressed President Biden directly, saying he hoped he and the president could overcome their differences. But
we will do what we have to do to protect our country, and that means we will defeat Hamas, including in Rafah.
Israel says Hamas has 4 remaining battalions of fighters in Rafah, and that it must root them out to destroy the militant group responsible for the October 7th massacre and mass kidnapping. The White House already held up one shipment of 2,000-pound bombs, and President Biden said some arms shipments would stop if Israel attacks Rafah's main population centers. But our crew in Gaza is documenting how that is already happening. These children were in their homes in central Rafah.
Oh, we got to show the kid with the robo arms. Make sure we pull on those heartstrings.
When they were hit by Israeli shells, doctors try to reassure a boy named Mohammed. He keeps saying he wants to go home. This is his neighborhood in central Rafah now, raising the question, is Israel already crossing President Biden's red line?
The Rafah operation has also derailed hostage negotiations and talks to achieve a ceasefire, with one senior diplomat telling NBC News the talks have effectively collapsed. Savannah?
Richard Engel in Jerusalem. Thank
Savannah.
you, Richard.
Richard Engel in Jerusalem. Hello, Richard. Separate taped interview with reality show host Phil McGraw. Is Dr. Phil McGraw? That aired later Tuesday. Netanyahu noted his decades-long relationship with Biden and said, we often had our agreements, but we've had our disagreements. We've been able to overcome them. I hope we can overcome them now, but we will do what we have to do to protect our country. And that means to protect our future, and that means we will defeat Hamas, including Rafah. We have no other choice. We already heard him say that. Anyway. So, crazy stuff there going on still in Israel, allegedly. We don't know what's true. We can't know that anything's true. Meanwhile, in Michigan, I thought this was funny. This congressman, this is from Vanity Fair, if they're going to let us read it. Yep. Michigan congressman and former pastor appears to suggest nuking Gaza. It should be like Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Oh, so you mean, not very effective, and firebombing works better, and no radiation damage, and people can live there in 2 weeks. But Rafah is small, so we probably would, if it's a small tent city, one of these nukes could probably wipe that out. He's saying we should level it. Michigan Representative Tim Walberg appeared to float the idea of using nuclear weapons against Palestinians in Gaza during an interaction with constituents at a town hall last week. The comments came in a video posted on social media from March 25th that appeared to show Wahlberg answering a question about President Joe Biden's plan, announced in his State of the Union address, to build a floating military port to bring aid to the besieged territory. That's the port that they're building, the pier that they're building, where boats can come in and bring them humanitarian aid. We shouldn't be spending a dime on humanitarian aid, Wahlberg replied, before mentioning the 2 Japanese cities on which the U.S. used atomic weapons in 1945, killing hundreds of thousands. I don't think that's accurate. I'm pretty sure that the biggest nuke killed 40,000. The other one killed like 20,000. It was not even 100,000. Definitely not hundreds of thousands. That's fact check false, Vanity Fair. Now, the firebombing, if you include all of the firebombing that we did, then hundreds of thousands were killed. But I think the nukes only killed a combined total of like 60K. Meanwhile, Tokyo was firebombed and had more people died there than Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined in one city with no nukes. So, fact check, inaccurate. The ordained Baptist pastor, not Baster, the ordained Baptist pastor added that U.S. aid should be directed to support Israel's war to defeat Hamas in Iran and Russia, and probably North Korea is in there, and China too, with them helping Hamas. A report earlier this month from... Now, I did see one article that said that this was fact-checked as false, that he did not actually say this. So, take that with a grain of salt. The media will twist your words to make it seem like you said something way worse than what you said. But, I don't know. Maybe I kind of agree with him. If these nukes are so powerful and so threatening, I'd like to see another one go off. It would be interesting. But nukes are scary. No, all you need is a school desk. Yep, Dr. Phil McGraw. Oh, it is the same guy. Huh. The Hamas Charter claims that the Freemasons are a global organization controlled by the Jays. I was surprised that Hamas knew about the Freemasons at all. Hey, Josh, I like the debate you had with, I think his name is Jalen. Obviously, one dude. Should be fun to see more of those. Yeah, I'll do more. Just gotta find people who want to accept the challenge. The representative's comments immediately drew backlash from both Muslim civil rights leaders and fellow members of Michigan's congressional delegations. Dawood Walid, executive director of the Michigan chapter of the Council on American and Islamic Relations, put out a statement Saturday calling Wahlberg's comments a clear call to genocide that should be condemned by all Americans who value human life and international law. How do I find... How long is the Hamas charter? Would it be weird to read that during a show? The Avalon Project, Hamas Covenant, 1988. The Hamas Charter is a document which sets out the movement's ideology as it was formulated and honed by its founders and includes radical Islamic worldview conceived by Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, which has basically not changed in the 18 years of existence. Sorry, I'm trying to read the Hamas Charter. Why are we frozen? Covenant on the okay, so this is not giving me the full charter. The Covenant of the Islamic Resistance Movement was issued on August 18th, 1988. The Islamic Resistance Movement, also known as the Hamas, is an extremist fundamentalist Islamic organization operating in the territories under Israeli control. Its covenant is a comprehensive manifesto comprised of 36 separate articles, all of which promote the basic Hamas goal of destroying the state of Israel through jihad. The following are excerpts from the Hamas covenant. Goals of the Hamas. The Islamic Resistance Movement is a distinguished Palestinian movement whose allegiance is to Allah and whose way of life is Islam. It strives to raise the banner of Allah over every inch of Palestine. On the destruction of Israel. Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it, just as it obliterated others before it. The exclusive Muslim nature of the area. The land of Palestine is an Islamic waqf, waqf, which means holy possession, consecrated for future Muslim generations until Judgment Day. No one can renounce it or any part or abandon it or any part of it. Palestine is an Islamic land. Since this is the case, the liberation of Palestine is an individual duty for every Muslim, wherever it may be. Call to jihad, rejection of a negotiated peace settlement, condemnation of Egypt-Israel peace treaty, anti-Semitic incitement. And the enemies have been, it says, the enemies have been scheming for a long time and have accumulated huge and influential material wealth. With their money, they took control of the world media. With their money, they stirred revolutions in various parts of the globe. They stood behind the French Revolution. Ooh, that was really the Communist Revolution and most of the revolutions we hear about. With their money, they formed secret organizations such as the Freemasons, Rotary clubs, and Lions, which are spreading around the world in order to destroy societies and carry out Zionist interests. They stood behind World War I and formed the League of Nations through which they could rule the world. They were behind World War II, through which they made huge financial gain. There is no war going on anywhere without them having their finger in it. Zionism scheming has no end, and after Palestine, they will covet expansion from the Nile to the Euphrates River. When they have finished digesting the area on which they have laid their hand, they will look forward to more expansion. Their scheme has been laid out in the protocols of the elders of Zion. The Hamas regards itself the spearhead and the vanguard of the circle of struggle against world Zionism. Islamic groups all over the Arab world should also do the same, since they are best equipped for their future role in the fight against warmongering Jews. That is an excerpt from the Hamas charter. And this is all coming from embassies.gov. It says Israeli missions around the world. Okay. Interesting. You were right. Someone fact check true. Fact check true. All right. All right. So that's all happening. What do you think? Are we going to nuke Gaza? Probably not. Probably not. Since nukes are fake. Anyway, let's move on. Last little story in the main story news. This is not even a big story. This could easily be rapid fire news, but I just needed more to talk about in the first hour. First hour is pretty much gone because I had to go to the bathroom. So remember first let's do a little blast from the past. Do y'all remember this? Do y'all remember? Well, this is Monday, May 13th of 2024. But this article comes from June 1st of 2023. Girls joining the Boy Scouts. How and why things have changed. Looking around, all you see are trees and stars. Boys and girls are surrounding the fire, singing songs, doing skits, roasting marshmallows, reminiscing. This is editorialization. I don't care about this. The girls were not allowed to be there and be part of the scouting family. When thinking about scouts, many go straight to the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, depending on who is talking about the subject. Even though scouting with girls and boys ages 11 to 17 together has replaced Boy Scouts across America, things may not have changed as much as you would expect. Opinions can vary on the subject. Events in scouting continue even with girls mixed in with the boys. Yeah, but boys can't join the Girl Scouts. Girls can join the Boy Scouts, but boys can't join the Girl Scouts unless their parents take them to the doctor and have the little dang-a-lang cut off. I don't think they're doing that yet, but maybe if they got put on some what's it called? Puberty blockers, maybe then the boys can join the Girl Scouts. This is crazy. This is so. Remember when Ben Shapiro said, it's called the Boy Scouts for a reason. And she said, what about the Boy Scouts implies that it's only for boys? And he said, it's in the name, Boy Scouts. It's in the name, Boy Scouts. Okay, duh. Some girls found that Boy Scouts offer more opportunities and learning experiences for the real world. No, you don't need to learn how to make a fire. You need to learn how to do laundry. That's it. Push for inclusion of girls in the Boy Scouts. Though this was not the first change to Boy Scouts that allowed people to join, in 2013, Boy Scouts lifted the ban on openly gay scouts, which is crazy. Isn't Boy Scouts for children? Anybody who calls a child gay is basically a PDF file. You should be locked up. Why are you concerned with a child's sexuality like that? Kids should not be sexualized. There should be no such thing as a gay child. There should be no such thing as a straight child. They're just children. 2015, the ban was lifted on openly gay leaders. Oh, so 2013, they started letting gay little boys into the Boy Scouts, which is sick in itself, just that you would call a little boy gay. That's disgusting and evil. Pure evil. Then they start letting the gay grown men into the Boy Scouts. Well, as long as they're adults, they can do what they want in their own bed. I don't want government in the bedroom. Do what you want as long as you're not hurting anybody in your house. Okay, until you got a bunch of gay daddies with gay little boys going into the gay Boy Scouts with little girls. Do you see that the slippery slope is not a fallacy? It's 100% true. It's 100% real, and we can watch it happening in real time. From New York Post, Boy Scouts to officially change its name after bankruptcy, sexual abuse woes. Here's what it'll be called now. So basically, to destigmatize, it's the same thing the Mormons did. Mormons don't call themselves Mormons anymore. They don't call themselves Latter-day Saints. They used to be called the Saints. They were the Latter-day Saints, so for short, it would be the Saints. And then they kind of started going with Mormons, but then the name Mormon and LDS was associated with polygamy and little girls and sister wives and gross stuff like that. And they got chased out of America. They ran to Mexico. Utah was Mexican territory at the time. And then in like the late 80s or early 90s, they started calling themselves Christians. They started calling themselves Christians even though Joseph Smith and Brigham Young said, we are not Christians. The Christians are wrong. The Catholics are wrong. We are not Christians. We are the Latter-day Saints. Christians are wrong. We don't believe, we're not Christians. That's what they said. Then in like the 90s, they start calling themselves Christians in order to gain more members, gain more acceptance, and kind of rebuild the image. Rebuild the image that they have. So they started calling themselves Christians, and it destigmatizes it because now we're not connected to the... So Boy Scouts are doing the same thing. Because the Boy Scouts has just been like a pit of degeneracy. It used to be an Eagle Scout was a very high, like, honor. Most presidents become Eagle Scouts. Most rich people were Eagle Scouts. If you were an Eagle Scout, that was a very high prestige, and it came with a lot of success in life. Now, you don't even want to be called a scout because it's like, oh, they're those weirdos that have gay little boys and gay little grown men and girls running around in the Boy Scouts in camps together, and there's a bunch of SA going on. And that's not a Mexican guy. I mean, the letter S and the letter A. And so now they're changing the name to destigmatize it. That's what's happening. So let's see what chat's saying. Jay is being based as usual. About what? About the Boy Scouts? Learning to play the drums will solve that. Do laundry. That's it. Yes. And dishes. Let's see what they're talking about.
I am also an assistant scoutmaster. I got my Eagle Scout.
Oh, there's your future president. There's your future president right there. Some Asian girl who was in the Boy Scouts from a young age.
In 2021, so I've been an Eagle Scout for 3 years now. I'm also a founder for...
This is your future president right here.
That troop and Troop 844, which was one of the first female troops in our council. I've had a lot of trouble in the past explaining to people that I'm not exactly part of the Girl Scouts program.
You're
but
a
I'm
Boy
part
Scout.
of Scouts BSA.
No, you're a Boy Scout. You're a freaking Eagle Scout. You're a Boy Scout.
Scouting America sounds a lot more inclusive of all of the other people that...
Right, but do they still have the Girl Scouts? So they got rid of the Boy Scouts. They turned it into Scouting America. But they still have Girl Scouts. And boys can't go into Girl Scouts. And we don't hear about a bunch of SA and a bunch of weird stuff happening in Girl Scouts. But they've turned Boy Scouts into basically a free-for-all for degeneracy.
Are in scouting.
I think it sends this really strong message to
it
everyone
sends a message.
in America.
You're right about that.
That they can come to
that we're a bunch of perverts. That's the message it sends to me.
This program, they can bring their authentic self. They can be who they are, right? And they will be welcomed here. The argument that I make with the people that say, well, I always like...
Look, it still says Boy Scouts of America over the door. They made sure to get the tree covering up the... So it looks like it says Scouts of America, but it actually says Boy Scouts of America over that door.
Boy Scouts of America or BSA, why do we have to change? Because, membership is at historic lows, right?
Right, so let's have girls come in to fix our membership issues. Maybe you shouldn't have let a bunch of gay people in. How about that? Maybe you shouldn't have had children who you call gay and grown men who call themselves gay going on camping trips together, and then you start letting girls join. That's a recipe for sexual assault.
Part of my job is to reduce all the barriers I possibly can for people to accept us as an organization and to join.
In the past, the name itself, or the name alone, even though we were open up to girls, there were still a couple of different challenges that we were facing. It wasn't just other scouts that were trying to put us down, but also some adults who were still not open to it. And so
no, yeah, we're not open to the Boy Scouts having girls in them. Grown men should not be going on campouts with little girls and little boys who they call gay. Grown gay men. That's crazy. That's crazy. What do you expect to happen?
We recognize that girls are being welcomed and included in scouting allows it to be a more safe space, just in general.
A safe space?
I think it's also important that scouts
and why is there so much
feel
SA?
like the national scouting community is accepting them.
Crazy. 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 Is that Sharon Osbourne? What's up with Sharon Osbourne? Anyway, that's all I got about that. This is upsetting to me. I'm really not angry about it, but if I were the type to easily be angered, this would be something that would make me angry. Though there have not been many changes to the program, events, troops, and camping have shifted to allow girls and boys to have the same opportunity. First of all, there was the name change from Boy Scouts of America to Scouts BSA, creating a more gender-neutral name. A change throughout Scouts BSA was camping. Girls and guys had to have separate camping areas. Right, but you can have gay boys and gay troop leaders with all the other boys. How is that? If we're supposed to believe in this inclusivity and blah, 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 isn't a gay boy, shouldn't he be with the girls? Because the issue isn't genders differences. The issue is sexual attraction. The issue is you don't want boys with girls because young boys and young girls might be starting to go through changes in their life, and they're starting to go through puberty and all that stuff, and there's going to be some sexual attraction among them, and then things might happen that you don't want to happen with the kids at the camp. Makes sense, right? But if the little boys are attracted to other little boys, then they should be in the camp with the little girls. I don't think that makes sense either, but it makes more sense than having the boys with the other boys. I don't know. This is crazy. This is crazy. That's all I got to say about all that. Let's get right into Hold on. Hold on. We're doing it. Let's get right into the memes. I gotta find my folder though. Oh, nope, that's not where it is. This is where it is. Right there. All right. Do ask and do tell. Is there such thing as a gay child though? No, that's what I was just saying earlier. It's gross that they even call kids that. You got here a little late, Terry. You missed it, but I said that already. I'm here for Mao. Oh, we are going to learn about Mao. Do ask and do tell. They're going to play a lot of leapfrog, I bet. Oh my gosh. Oh no. What's up, Tomas? Amigos que hablo. Hey, speak English. The heck is wrong with you? I wonder what they'll be teaching them. I think if you're an Eagle Scout, if you join the Army or whatever, I think that automatically makes you an E1 or E2 or whatever. Probably. It's kind of like if you go to what's it called? In high school, if you go to ROTC, then you get to join the military at a higher rank. That makes sense. You probably start at a way higher rank if you're an Eagle Scout. And you're a shoo-in for presidents to be a president. Like most of the presidents were Eagle Scouts. Anyway, let's get to the memes. One more time with the nuke alert. The nukes are coming. Okay. Let me shrink this a little bit. Kendrick made Drake look like Jimmy again. Y'all remember when Drake paid a handicapped guy on Degrassi on Disney Channel? Kendrick made Drake look like Jimmy again. Next. Drake, don't rap against Kendrick ever. Okay, that's pretty good. Next. John Cena is slowly turning into Ernest. What did Ernest say? What did I used to be able to do a good Ernest impression, but I can't remember what his key phrase was. It was something like, "Thank you there, Bob," or something like that. Or what did Ernest always say? Weren't you late too? I was like 3 minutes late. Not as late as you. I was like, you don't even got to call in late. You were like, you almost got fired just now. Late. John Cena is slowly turning into Ernest. It's true. It's a doppelganger. What the heck? Dang. Hold on. Sound effect. All right. Next. I don't have a lot of memes today. Life is all about how you handle plan B. He's a protester. You see a sign? Wow, that's a nice sign right there. That's a nice sign right there. There you go.
It's a man, baby.
There's a baseball bat, baby. Next. Check this out. Okay. First, I don't think this is real. But I've talked about The Last Ronin before. If they make a live action R-rated Last Ronin movie, it might be freaking awesome. When I first saw this movie poster, my first thought was this is probably fake. And I think I'm right. I think this is definitely fake. Second thought is, at first I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. That looks like a cool movie poster. Then I examined it deeper. Now, let me explain to you why, after closer examination, this movie poster pisses me off. Let me find a picture of The Last Ronin. And don't look into The Last Ronin if you don't want to be spoiled on who that is. But because if you Google it, you'll find out who that is. Oh, there's apparently a trailer here. This can't be real. Okay, this looks more based. So check this out. This is the Last Ronin. Okay, this is what the Last Ronin looks like in the comics. He wears a black mask. He wears black robes. And he has all the weapons. Because what happens, just the basic story is basically the Foot Clan kills all of the turtles except for one. One turtle survives. And it's supposed to kind of be like a surprise at the end. You find out which turtle it is. Because instead of wearing his normal colors, he wears black. And he wears all black. And he looks like this. But he takes all the weapons. So see, he has Raphael's sides. He has Leonardo's sword. He has Donatello's bow staff. And he has Michelangelo's nunchucks. So he's basically all the turtles in one. And it's a very dark graphic novel Ninja Turtle. It's not fun-loving, pizza-eating Ninja Turtles. It's dark. It's like he's slaughtering the Foot Clan. And it's pretty epic, right? This is what he looks like. Now, this says live-action trailer. Let's see this, because I don't think this is real either. Paramount Pictures has officially announced the new live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin. How come I can't play it? Play it. Let's see if this is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned.
By the way, I want to watch this show, Shudder. This looks pretty cool. This show looks pretty freaky right here.
The devil.
Anyway.
Recent news from the film industry has thrilled fans of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, as it has been announced that a new live-action movie is in development aimed at an adult audience. This will be an adaptation of the Last Ronin comic series, which will also soon see a video game release. Tyler Burton Smith is handling the screenplay, and the producer role has been snagged by former DC Films head Walter Hamada. Despite the audience recalling Paramount's blunder with the DC Extended Universe under Hamada's leadership, I personally believe his selection as producer is completely justified. Hamada not only led DC, but was also the creative force behind the first installments of The Conjuring and It. It's also worth remembering that he produced The Batman starring Pattinson and its R rating stands out as the more intriguing and anticipated film for fans. While it's certain that the screenplay will adapt the storyline of the comic, surprises such as plot twists and expanded story arcs could be in store to both delight comic book fans and maintain suspense for newcomers to the movie. The Last Ronin is one of the darker yet more popular arcs in the TMNT saga. This is an epic tale of vengeance and redemption set against a dark and mature dystopian backdrop. At the heart of the story is the last surviving brother of the Turtles, who embarks on a solitary campaign against the omnipotent ruler of a future city. Armed with ancient techniques and modern technologies, he aims to complete the mission his brother started, to avenge the fall of his clan and restore justice in a rotten world that has forgotten honor and nobility. The graphic novel stands out with its deeply developed characters, complex moral dilemmas, and visually captivating style. The violence and dark themes make it an ideal candidate for an R-rated movie adaptation. With intense battle scenes, complex psychological
Okay, so just FYI, if you Google The Last Ronin and you start looking into it, the internet sucks if you don't want to be spoiled on stuff. And I'm the king spoiler, but I won't spoil it even though I've said it before on the show who The Last Ronin is. But you're not supposed to really know which turtle The Last Ronin is, because his voice when he becomes The Last Ronin, his voice changes. He is not... He doesn't seem like you would probably guess that it's Raphael the way he acts. He acts kind of like Raphael, but he basically takes on all the attributes of all the turtles. And if you look into this on the internet, you're going to find out which turtle it is. And somebody's probably spoiled it in chat already. Let's see. Giraffe Woman. Nobody spoiled it in chat yet. Okay. I wonder who that might be. AI voiceover. He said suspense like. But anyway, the point is this looks pretty epic. I think this looks pretty cool. Here's my problem. Look at the movie poster that they're doing on like Facebook. Now this is fake. But it pissed me off because why does his mask look like a rainbow COVID mask? Why does the Last Ronin in this movie, if they do it like this, if they change it and they take some liberties and they make it like this, I'm not seeing it. Why does the Last Ronin go from being a dark, murderous, angry, vengeful character to wearing a rainbow COVID mask? Not cool. Not cool. Whatever company made this poster, whoever made this poster, do not make the Last Ronin wear a rainbow COVID mask. No. No, that's not the Last Ronin. That's a gay liberal woman who's probably at a protest for Palestine right now. Except she needs a hijab. That ain't our boy. That ain't the Last Ronin. So this pissed me off. Do you see it? Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. The other turtles aren't dead. They are just socially distancing. Yeah. The other turtles are at a protest. Raging, dark, murderous turtle. I'd expect Mikey to run off and give up the ninja thing unless it was seriously personal. Yeah, you mean like they murdered his 3 brothers? It seems kind of personal to me. But you just spoiled it, Tomas. Dang it. She needs blue or pink hair. Anyway. Next. This is... If you're not a Dragon Ball nerd, you won't get this, but this is actually Drake's. This is supposed to be Drake's house, and there's a bunch of PDF files living there. And TN is about to Neo Tri-Beam cannon the hell out of this place, which is an attack that pretty much destroys everything in that area in between his fingers. Everything in between his fingers is about to get wiped off the face of the earth. Like TN is like Isreal with this would be funny meme if you put Rafa in here and you put Isreal under TN, you put Isreal, and then you put Rafa, a picture of Rafa in between his tri-beam. That would be funny too. But next, hold on. I think I don't have time. I don't have time to find that. Maybe I do. Hold on. Let me see if it's in my liked videos. I don't know if I have time. TN 4-star Team 4. Yep, there it is. Is this it? Cell hates TN. Okay, I should be able to play this.
Yeah. Huh? Oh my God! It's TN! What, was Krillin busy? Come on, buddy, you can't be serious. With your power level, you're...
Just so you know, this is Team 4-star. They made a parody of all the episodes of Dragon Ball, so these are voiceovers. This is not the audio from the show. This is comedians doing voiceovers of the character, and it's so funny.
You're no android, you're no Namekian, and you're certainly no Super Saiyan. You're just human.
Yeah? Well, you know what? Power levels!
Power levels.
Super Saiyans! And you! Shin! Kiko!
Oh, that's Adora
Shit!
You! Huh? Blow yourself up or leave! I don't care which!
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Come on, 16. We have to go.
Where is 17?
He's gone, buddy.
That is sad. I am sad.
We both are.
Stop it! Stop it!
Stop it! Oh! Okay, enough of that. I don't even know if I'm allowed to play that. Well, if Team 4-Star can do it, I should be able to. But anyway. Next. Happy Cinco Deported. Happy Cinco Deported. Hey. Happy Cinco Deported.
It's a man, baby.
Okay. That is actually such a good meme template. Yeah, it is. You could do a lot of stuff with that. He's posting the triangle, son. I know it's called the tri-beam cannon, and he holds his fingers, but he holds his fingers like this, but it's called the tri-beam cannon or the neo tri-beam cannon. But the hole it makes in the ground is a square. Never made sense to me. Anyway. Happy Cinco Deported. Okay. Next. How could you tell I was a trans woman?
Beta! It's a man, baby.
How could you tell I was a trans woman? Next. How men see the world. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, beep, beep. Analyzing. Critical mass, overload. All right, next. Women will F anything. Also women. Cucumber, showerhead, Pete Davidson, a bear.
Beta!
You know why there's a bear here? So there's a new viral thing going around on like shorts and TikToks and reels and stuff where they're asking women on the street, would you rather wake up alone in the woods with a random stranger who's a man or a bear? And a lot of the women on these streets, a lot of these women are saying a bear, because the one girl said, well, in the forest, one bear might just go and do his own thing if I leave him alone. But the man, they all assume that the man is going to wake up and essay them because they have this horrible image of man. Like if a man and a woman woke up in the woods alone, they're not going to work together to figure out the situation, and the man's not going to help the woman survive. They think if a man and a woman wake up in the woods together, the man's just going to look at her and say, oh, I'm taking that booty. So they would rather wake up next to a giant grizzly bear. They think they have a better chance against the bear than the man. So that's why the bear is in the meme. Redo that one, Josh. You read it wrong. What did I read wrong? Which one? How men see the world? How could you tell I was a trans woman? Happy Cinco Deported. Which one? Anyway. ATM. Do I have a cha-ching? Do I have a ching?
Beta!
Wait till I get my money right.
Gold digger. I ain't saying she a gold digger. Gold digger. I used to have a gold digger sound clip too, but I don't anymore. Okay, next. The training demonstrations at this new job are wild. This is Boeing, and this is Boeing. The new training demonstrations at this new job are wild. Hold on. And Boeing is like the Clintons.
Murderers. Yeah. Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy.
Apparently 2 more Boeing whistleblowers have turned up dead. So they're 3 deep now. 3 dead whistleblowers at Boeing so far. So interesting. Man or bear, neither deserves to be stuck anywhere with a liberal woman. The man is going to essay the woman. Essay. The letter S and the letter A. Next. When you realize Father's Day is technically Mother Effer's Day. Technically, it is. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers yesterday, by the way. Next. Likes and perf. 19, about me, 19. Looking for someone to take to couples therapy and see how long it takes the therapist to notice that we don't know each other. Hey! They probably wouldn't notice. Next! This one's pretty cool. This is the greatest Venn diagram you've ever seen. 1984, They Live, Brazil. I've never seen Brazil. Or read it. Is it a book or a movie? Fahrenheit 451, The Matrix, Soylent Green, Idiocracy, Mad Max, Hunger Games, Lord of the Flies, Animal Farm, Brave New World. I don't know what that is. They all come together, perfect Venn diagram, and you are here in the middle of all of that mess. Very true, very true. What a mess. Essay, sensually assist. Yeah, that's what it means. Sensually assist. Next. Why argue with a vaxxer when you could just wait? True. Next. Uyghur slaves struggling to keep up with the demand for Palestinian headscarves. Yeah, all these college students are buying all these Palestinian headscarves. They're made by slave labor in China. Muslim slave labor in China is making the Muslim headscarves that the college students are wearing at their Palestine protests. Classic. Next. Another, and that was Babylon Bee. Another Babylon Bee. This is funny. 12 women come forward alleging they were sexually assaulted by, I'm not supposed to say that. 12 women come forward alleging they were essayed by whoever Trump's VP pick is. Wow. and look at the picture. One of them's a guy. I got hiccups from my... Sometimes these nicotine packs are too strong and they'll give me hiccups. Hold on, I need more coffee so I don't hiccup. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Told you to be fast. I have hiccups. Okay, next. Hiccup. You gotta, here's how you get rid of hiccups. You gotta try to say hiccup right before you hiccup. Try to say hiccup as close to before you hiccup as possible. Okay? And you gotta do it for a little while. You're gonna fail. So watch. Once you start focusing on it and you try to do it, your hiccups. It takes a little while sometimes. I'll still hiccup a couple times, but see, now I'm not hiccuping anymore. See, now I'm not hiccuping anymore. I'm trying to say hiccup right before I hiccup. And I'm not hiccuping anymore. You got to really focus, though. See? Hiccups are gone. And all I did was start focusing on trying to say the word hiccup right before I hiccup. And now I can't hiccup. See? Problem solved. That's all you got to do. That's how you get rid of hiccups. Next. Okay. The genie looking at me after my first wish is to give all blind people eyesight, but they pay me a monthly subscription. Nice. That's a good wish. That is a epic wish. That is a winning wish. You win. Oh, we do have a cash register sound. That's the gold digger sound. Okay, next. If we end up in a civil war, I'm siding with the people that are armed and know which restroom to use. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Next. Please like and share this post if you like fries and onion rings and want to legalize machine guns. from Kurger Bing. Hey, Kurger Bing. This meme reminded me of something. Let me let you guys in on a secret, okay? If you ever go to Burger King and you order fries, but you like onion rings and you can't decide, do you want fries or onion rings? Here's a trick of the trade, okay? I learned this when I did door-to-door sales, and I've done this at Burger Kings all over the country. Sometimes the employees will give you a dirty look if you ask this, and if they do, then they suck at their jobs because this is a perfectly acceptable request. But did you know you can ask for half fries and half onion rings? You can order a large fry and tell them you want half fries and half onion rings. And sometimes, only one time really, once or twice, I've gotten like a dirty look. Like, really? Really? You want us to do that? Probably because they had to drop onion rings. They didn't have any fresh onion rings. So they had to drop some onion rings. They probably wanted to give me some old fries, what they had left. But then I said, I want half fries and half onion rings. And if you got time, if you really want to piss them off, tell them you want it fresh. You want them to drop a new basket of fries and a new basket of onion rings. Then they'll get really pissed off at you. But you're going to get a large size with half onion rings and half fries. You get the best of both worlds, okay? Employees might get mad at you. Hopefully they don't spit in your food. I don't like to be the person that's like, oh, I don't want this, and I don't want this, and I don't want this. But I really do love getting half fries and half onion rings. And so I just wanted to put that out there. Little fast food secret for you guys. You already bombed the Nick stream, and now you want to bomb Jan. How's she bombing us? What the? Hiccuping anymore sounds like one long word. Just, an opposite. Hiccuping anymore. Hiccuping anymore. No hiccuping anymore. Anyway, next. Free hat in every box. Aluminum foil. Free hat in every box. Next. Are reptilian overlords trying to figure out how their billion-dollar propaganda machine is being defeated by memes? Where's I need the sound effect, the when they look up and the numbers are flying across the screen. Next. Become ungovernable. No cats. Look at this cat chilling in the yard with the no cat sign. That cat don't care about it. Cats can't even read. Next, dangerous cat. This is so funny. This is so funny. This is our boy Michael Phelps. No, this is not Michael Phelps. This is Leah Thomas, whatever the heck his or her name is. They, them, whatever. I have to be politically correct for YouTube, but look at this. Off the line, off the jump. Woman, XX, 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 XY, boom! This guy's starting out. He's going to hit the water 2 full body distances ahead of the competition. Next. What's the magic word to get what you want? Racist? Yep, that's it. That's the word, son. I think we might have done this one before. I think I've seen this before. Next. All communist theory is essentially this. I want you dead and I want your money. Yep. Next. The last thing you see before being hunted for sport on a private island is gratin bag. Keyboard. Next. Rise and grind, America. Millions of people hate your ancestors, religion, culture, nation, and children are counting on you for food, shelter, and medical care. Get to work! Onions are one of the favorite foods of commies. Onions are one of my only favorite vegetables that I like. Are you trying to say I'm a commie? Next! It's not my favorite food, though. It's just my favorite vegetable. Is an onion a vegetable? Anyway, I saw this. When this happened, I saw this. Well, I didn't see it, but I saw on YouTube, I saw the video where they did this. New gender says you can identify as seasons. winter, spring, summer, and fall. I identify as a season now. And if you're gender fluid, you can be a different season every season. And then Jesus is smoking a cigarette saying, flood it again, Dad. Dad, bring the flood. Next. I don't know if the phrase "end the Fed" is referring to the Federal Reserve or the federal government. And at this point, I'm okay with both. Yep. Next. Before and after. Cocaine. Alcohol. Crack. Wokeness. This is the biggest change of all of them. What the heck? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Why would you... Look, this is a pretty girl. This is a monster. This is horrible. Wokeness is a plague. Anyway, next. Room is completely engulfed in flames. You can only save one. Now, this is funny because it's kind of like the bear in the woods situation with women, except with men. This is for men. Would you rather save... No! Would you rather... Who is this? This is, I forget who this lady is. But, would you rather save any of these or the bear? I can kind of see where the women are going now because I'm saving the bear. Next. Muslim jihadists, LGBTQ plus activists shaking hands. They both agree. Venn diagram. They both agree with essaying kids. Seems pretty accurate to me. Next. Who's paying for the signs and who's printing them should lead you right to the source of the protest. Right. Where did all these printed out homemade signs, where did they all come from? Blue, Act Blue, or Democracy Now, or one of these groups. Sunrise Movement, any of these organized protest groups. Sounds about right. And that's it for the memes. I'm saving the Karen. That's a Karen. Oh yeah, it's just a Karen. Okay. Suddenly the men are the ones choosing the bear. Exactly. Yeah. Right. So see, I kind of can see where the women are going with that because I would pick the bear also in that situation. So, but I think I have a better chance against a bear than a woman does. Okay. All right, that's it for the memes. Let's do reels and rapid fire. We don't have very much. I do have some funny little reels we could watch. Not a whole lot here. And then we can learn more about Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong. Okay. Let's open this up. Okay, this first one. Now, these guys might be a little fruity. But this is pretty funny. Check this out. Don't worry, he has shorts on. It's a guy in a bathtub with his dog, but he has shorts on. Okay, but anyway, let's listen.
What are you doing?
I had to take a bath, and he also had to take a bath.
That is dog shampoo though.
So?
Bruh,
He likes it.
Aww, Rocket. Hold up, bro. What is that?
What you mean?
See that thing floating right there?
What is that, bro? Oh my gosh, bro.
Dad.
I swear to God, bro. Bro, look. Is that freaking...
Get it out!
Is that... He pooped in the freaking... Oh my God.
Dad, get out. Get it out. Get it out.
Oh. Bro, you... Get it out.
Get it out.
He turned the light off.
The freak are you doing?
He turned the light off as he left the bathroom. Get it out! That's so funny. I don't know why that made me crack up so much. When you get your AirPods from Dollar General, and this is so true, I've done this before, or like the Walmart checkout line, if you buy like the $5 headphones or the $1 headphones at the dollar store, this is what you get right here. Even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. That dog was way too comfortable. Is that Hassan? Yeah, that was Hassan taking a bath with Sandy. Sandy dropping a doo-doo in the water. Oh, man. Okay. Next. Oh, this is Yo, this is the best prank ever. So they're like at the golf course and they tie a fake snake to somebody's shoe. And then they're like, look, a snake! And they start running. This is so funny. Check this out.
Fuck off, oh, fuck off.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Oh.
What is that? Holy fuck! Nathan! Where the fuck is he? Holy Christ! Shit!
He's hitting with the golf club. There's a string on it.
Yeah! What the f***? Oh my god! What the f*** is it?
Is this the polyamorous relationship?
As far as what happens behind closed doors, it stays behind closed doors.
What the heck is this? I don't know what this is. This is what played next. Corey Feldman? That snake prank is awesome. Oh, this is funny.
I got one question, man. Tell me who next.
This is the worst freestyle battle ever. Eli came back strong once the beat dropped.
This nigga salt like a nigga who just getting the best. See, I'm the best, man. I did it.
He does like...
Alright.
Hold on, he's got one more verse. It's not over yet.
Yeah, yeah. See, I'ma let you know who the best by the hour. This like Rosie O'Donnell at a bisexual bridal shower. It ain't nothing to me, man. I keep it for real. Look at this dental, man, with dental the grill. See, I'm the best. I told you that. This dude like that, he ran in front of the cat. Now I messed up, but I'ma stay on top. They told me, man, but you know, I'm never gonna flop. Look at this dude, he need to stay in the shade. Ain't no wonder why he came out. He already in the gay parade. I told you, man, I got you.
Got him there.
Yeah, I got one question, man. Tell me who next. This nigga salt like a nigga who just getting the best. See, I'm the best, man. I did it.
See, I'm the best, man. I did it. He at the gay parade. That was a hot bar, though. He the best. I'm the best, man, because I'm the best. That Rosie O'Donnell line was fire, too. Yeah, you're looking like Rosie O'Donnell at a bisexual bridal shower. One more. Okay, enough of that. One more. What's this? Oh, this is pretty funny. I don't think there's any audio, though. Oh, we can't play the audio. Okay, let me restart this. So check it out. This dude's drunk, and he goes to jump over this pole, but his pants get caught. What? His pants are falling down, and then his pants were already falling down. And he gets stuck with the pole in between his. Now he can't get out. This guy's just dying laughing over here. And he's in a puddle of water. He can't get off. Bruh. Bruh. Why were your pants down in the first place? Okay. And that's it for all the funny reels. They crack me up. Okay. How did a pole undress him? Well, if you watch, he's got his pants down already when he runs up to the pole. So why is he walking around with his pants around his knees? But yes, the pole just undressed him. It went from bad to worse. Yeah, it got way worse. Okay. Let's do rapid fire news real quick. White House should be concerned. This is Fox News. White House should be concerned as Trump rallies as many as 100,000 people in Deep Blue, New Jersey. Trump did a rally in New Jersey, which is a blue place, and 100,000 people showed up. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's in his basement, couldn't get 20 people to show up to a rally, but he's still going to somehow win the election, is what we're led to believe. Former Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy warned the Biden White House should be concerned ahead of November after Trump rallied as many as 100,000 supporters in New Jersey in what is being called the largest political rally in state history. McCarthy joined Sunday Morning Futures to discuss his reaction to Trump's massive rally in Wildwood, which is Hood, on Saturday, and why he thinks the Garden State could be in play this election cycle. That was extraordinary. So, this is Trump country. New Jersey is Trump country. Let's go. Let's go, Trump. I need an air horn.
It's a man, baby.
Next. Okay. Stunning discovery of 9,000-year-old rock art shows humans knew about dinosaurs. What did I tell y'all? Now, I don't understand. I don't know if this picture, representative cover image. See, I think this is just a random stock photo that they took. I don't think this has to do with the article. But apparently they found ancient petroglyphs showing curiosity in the dinosaur prints. So they found dinosaur footprints with petroglyphs drawn around them. People knew about dinosaurs. Dinosaurs helped build the pyramids. Dinosaurs were on the ark. You know, the reason long necks had such long necks is because they had to survive the flood, the ones that couldn't fit onto the ark. The reason pyramids were made was because it's the simplest way to make a tall structure. And when floods are happening and the waters are rising, they build pyramids to try to survive. The giants and the Nephilim, we had to have a flood to kill the Nephilim because the giants are pretty tall and, you know, you need a lot of water to kill a giant. The giants had to retreat into their into the depths, into Agartha. And so dinosaurs are not fake. Dinosaurs were real. A lot of archaeology may be fake. They might take a lot of liberties and make up a lot of fake stuff regarding dinosaurs. But there definitely were dinosaurs, and people definitely lived with the dinosaurs. They called Behemoth the king of man in the Bible, and the Behemoth is described exactly like a brontosaurus. So there you go. Researchers in Brazil have made a stunning discovery that bridges a millennia. Dinosaur footprints alongside rock art over 9,000 years old. The collection was discovered in Serroto de Leiterio in the Sosa Basin of the state, and corresponding research has been published in the Scientific Reports Journal. So I don't think this picture goes with the story. Looks like a picture of an alien. I don't even know what that is. Looks like a giant alien in the side of a mountain. But this also looks like it could be naturally formed by erosion, and it just happens to look like an alien waving his hand. Anyway, next. Virginia School Board votes to restore Confederate names. Virginia School Board votes to restore Confederate names. Uh-oh, they're bringing the flag back, boys. They're bringing the Confederate names back and the flags back. BLM, your little scheme worked for a little while. I knew that the Flintstones was a documentary. It is. Yep. Pyramids equal power plants. I don't know. I just like that theory. That's a cool one too. As long as we can agree that dinosaurs helped build them, then I can agree that maybe they were power plants. Maybe they were beacons to space for ancient aliens. I don't really believe in ancient aliens, but I'll go more with that than to say that it's impossible to build a pyramid and we needed some sort of lost technology. Like, nah, bro, we just had dinosaurs pulling heavy rocks up ramps with 100 million slaves. 100 million slaves and a couple brontosauruses, and I can stack up some rocks too. It's not that hard. And it's sandstone. It's not like it's some impossible, like people are like, well, they couldn't. I said that they could split it using simple tools, a chisel and a hammer. You can perfectly split a giant granite rock. And people replied to my dinosaurs helped build the pyramids video. And they say, yeah, but they didn't have hammers and chisels back then. Yeah, but they had sharp rocks. You could break a big a piece of sandstone. You just take another sharper, harder rock and you tap it in the same place with a heavy stick. Boom, 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 in a straight line, and it'll split. And it'll look like a laser cut it. It'll split straight down it. And sandstone is much softer and easier to break than like granite and marble. Now, they say there is some granite and marble in the pyramids, which is a little more tougher to understand, but I think the majority of the pyramids are just sandstone, which is a frail rock. Anyway, the Jinn built it like they built Solomon's Temple. Tombs sounds dumb, though. Yeah, it's not just a tomb. I think it was a way to get out of the flood. They wanted to survive the floods, and it didn't work. It wasn't tall enough. All right. Okay, a Virginia school board has approved a motion for 2 schools to revert their Confederate names following a debate that bitterly divided a town. The Shenandoah County School Board has voted 5-1 to reinstate the names of Stonewall Jackson High and Ashby Lee Elementary in Quicksburg. Community members have been pushing for a reversal, arguing the 2020 name change because of Black Lives Matter. Let's cater to the terrorists. The vote marked the first such U-turn anywhere in the U.S. A large crowd flocked to the school board. This is BBC, by the way. School board's public meeting on Thursday to listen to a series of arguments from residents on both sides of the issue following the May 2020 murder of Georgia, Florida, and a summer of racial justice unrest. Virginia and other states took down Confederate statues from public spaces. They catered to terrorists. In a letter to school board chairs across the state, then Democratic Governor Ralph Northam said, it is time to change the school names and mascots that memorialize Confederate leaders or sympathizers. The Shenandoah County School Board took action 3 days later, moving to rename Stonewall Jackson High as Mountain View High and Ashby Lee Elementary as Honey Run Elementary. The schools were named after Confederate generals Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson and Cavalry Commander Turner Ashby. So they're changing the names back in Virginia. Let's go. That's based. Oh my gosh. Stomach's hurting again. This one's not going to let me read it. New Russia space weapon raises alarm in the U.S. I think we already covered this story. The ASAT weapon in question, allegedly already tested by Russia in high radiation orbits under the guise of electronic testing, diverges from typical scientific satellite protocols. So these are the laser satellites. We've already covered this before. The first person to receive genetically modified pig kidney transplant has died. So he got a pig kidney transplant and he died 2 months later. They say there was no indication that his death was the result of the transplant. Really, having a pig kidney is not the reason of his death? Interesting. Sorry, I'm trying to get through these fast because I'm going to play the Mao video and go to the bathroom again. I'm having some trouble right now. Oh, they're not going to let me read this. China, okay, basically this was a story about China is untangling its could be preparing for a long invasion of Taiwan. China's about to go to war with Taiwan. We know all about that. We've talked about it endlessly. Speaking of China, let's learn about Mao Zedong. Let's learn about Mao Zedong. I have a shorter video to watch, and then that one documentary I started playing was a very long one. But I have a shorter one, and I'll start playing that. go to the bathroom, and then I'll read.
Recordings just got better.
And then I'll read some stuff. I'll read some stuff about Mao, and we'll look into some history of Mao Zedong. Dissecting a Dictator, Part 2. Mao Zedong. This should be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dissect a dictator. Let's learn about Mao Zedong in 10
Mao
minutes.
Zedong was born...
Zedong. Mao Zedong or Mao Zedong? This is a 10-minute video. We'll watch this while I run to the restroom, and then I will come back. We'll read some stuff. We'll read some Wikipedia, some Google, some basic research, just basic level research, just for an hour. We're not writing a research paper about him. We're not really learning all about him. It would take a long time to learn everything about him, but we're going to learn a little bit, and I'll be right back. You guys can watch this.
Born on December 26, 1893, in a small farming community named Shaoshan, located in the province of Hunan, China. He was born into a peasant family that had lived there for generations. While life was tough for many in China, Mao's father was a successful grain dealer, and his mother was described as a nurturing parent. Mao attended a small school in his village, but overall, he did not receive much formal education when he was a young boy. By the age of 13, he was working full-time in the fields. At the age of 14, his father had arranged a marriage for him, but he refused. When he turned 17, he left his village and attended secondary school in the city of Changsha, the capital of Hunan. 1 year in, a revolution occurred. At the time, the Qing dynasty had ruled. This dynasty was weak and inept. It failed to industrialize China, and it also was unable to confront foreign aggressors. There were many in China that wished to see their country rise on the global stage, and these people formed the Nationalist Party. It was led by a man named Sun Yat-sen, who to this day is known as the Father of China. In 1912, the Qing dynasty was finally overthrown, and the Republic of China was established. Fast forward 5 years later, and communism is on the rise. In 1917, Vladimir Lenin and his cohorts had successfully led a communist revolution in Russia. They removed the royal family from power and established the Soviet Union. Meanwhile, in China, Mao Zedong had completed his education in Hunan in 1918. He would have returned home, but his mother passed away. He instead decided to move to the capital of China, Beijing. He found a job in Beijing University and even attended a few classes. It was during this time he had heard of the Communist Revolution in Russia. In 1921, Mao Zedong became one of the first members of the Chinese Communist Party. Even though China's Communist Party grew in strength, the Nationalist Party remained in power. At first, these two groups got along. In 1923, the Nationalist Party leader, Sun Yat-sen, decided that it was best to cooperate with the Communists. Mao Zedong at first supported both parties, but as time grew, he became more enamored with Leninism. Vladimir Lenin, who had led the Communist Revolution in Russia, believed that appealing and energizing the poor farming class was the key to establishing communism. Over the next few years, Mao rose through the ranks of the Communist Party. In March 1925, Sun Yat-sen died. This event set off the fireworks. His successor, Chiang Kai-shek, became the leader of the Nationalist Party. This guy was far more conservative, and in April 1927, he began a violent purge of the communists, imprisoning some and killing others. In September of that same year, Mao led an army of peasants against the Nationalist Party, but he was defeated. The remnants of the Communist Army retreated to the mountains in the Jiangxi province. It was there that Mao established the Soviet Republic of China, of which he was the chairman. His army of guerrilla fighters was small but strong. Any dissidents within the party who defied the party would be tortured and executed. Fast forward 7 years later, and Mao's territory had grown. 10 regions in the Jiangxi province were under his control. Chiang Kai-shek, the leader of the ruling Nationalist Party, grew nervous. His small raids and attacks on the communists were not having the effect that he wanted. He decided it was time to end the problem once and for all, with one swift blow.
We might be doing the left-wing dictators first, but we will get to the right-wing dictators. We're kind of going backwards because Lenin led to Mao, Mao led to Pol Pot. We're doing Pol Pot, then Mao, then Lenin, so we're going backwards. But eventually, we'll get to Russia, to Stalin, and Hitler. That's going to be a sensitive one. We're going to have to be careful when we do. We'll probably save him for last. We're going to save our boy Dolph for last. Young Dolph. He's going to be last on the list. And we're going to have to be very careful when we dissect the dictator known as Young Dolph.
In October of 1934, Chiang Kai-shek gathered 1 million government forces and surrounded the communist-occupied areas. Mao and other leaders were alerted, and Mao made the decision to retreat. This retreat became known as the Long March. Over the course of 12 long months, the communists traveled to Yan'an in northern China. It's estimated that only 30,000 of the original 100,000 survived the 8,000-mile journey. However, this monstrous blow to the communists did not have the long-lasting effect that Chiang Kai-shek wanted. Once word got out that the communists escaped, many young people migrated to Yan'an province to join them. On top of that, Mao Zedong used his compelling oratory abilities to recruit many more.
They're all great speakers. Oratory means speaking abilities. All these people have one thing in common. I don't know. Pol Pot was dumb. But a lot of them, I guess, have a lot of charisma and they're good at speaking and they rally people together.
Fast forward 3 years later, and a new player enters the game, the Japanese. In July 1937, the Japanese Imperial Army invaded China, one of several events that kick-started World War II. The Nationalist Party, still led by Chiang Kai-shek, suffered numerous defeats on the eastern coast of China. Chiang Kai-shek realized that he could not fight a war on both fronts. He decided to make an alliance with the communists. Mao and Chiang, the communists and the nationalists, fought together while receiving aid from the Allied forces. Eventually, the Japanese were defeated in 1945, with a little help from the United States.
A little help. Just a little.
After the war ended, the communists and nationalists picked up right where they left off. This bloody civil war is known as the Chinese Communist Revolution, and it lasted from 1945 to 1949. And as you can probably guess, the communists defeated the nationalists. Chiang Kai-shek and the nationalists retreated to modern-day Taiwan. The sovereignty of Taiwan to this day is still a heated political issue.
Wow.
Mao Zedong...
So is that the origins of when Taiwan kind of separated from China?
...instituted many land reforms through persuasion and coercion. He took land from warlords and turned it into communes. He promoted the status of women. He doubled the school population, which increased the country's...
I'll take Japanese imperials, nationalists over Chinese communists any day.
...literacy.
You're crazy,
and
Terry.
he increased access to healthcare, which increased life expectancy. So far, it may seem that...
Terry, I thought you don't talk about politics, but you're in love with dang commies. Chinese commies. Very dishonorable. This is very dishonorable. My understanding is that Japanese invented meth and Adolf got hooked. Really? I know the Nazis were doing a lot of meth, but I never heard that it got started in Japan. Now I want to hear some Beatles. Terry, you're not supposed to talk about politics because this is why you don't talk about politics. Because when you start talking about politics, we find out that you've been exposed as a commie.
It wasn't so bad. But soon a series of unfortunate events and decisions took place. Mao's reforms were not as popular and successful in big cities. In 1956, Mao started the 100 Flowers campaign. He fully allowed people to provide constructive criticism so he could hear new ideas and improve the way he ran things. Instead, many urban intellectuals harshly criticized Mao. Mao was shook. He became paranoid and he believed he could lose control, so he launched the anti-rightist campaign. Hundreds of thousands of Chinese dissidents
said political powers grows out of the barrel of a gun.
Were accused of being rightists and were locked up. In 1958, Mao Zedong initiated an economic plan known as the Great Leap Forward. The goal of this program was to massively increase agricultural and industrial output. Massive agricultural communes.
Sounds like a good plan. I love when they do this tiered farming on mountains and it looks like steps. That's so cool to me.
Were formed, and in some cases tens of thousands of people assigned to work the fields. Each family was given a small portion of land and a share of the profits. At first, this program seemed to work, but this was actually all a lie. The truth eventually came out that people on every level were lying about their harvest yields. And
same thing happened in Cambodia with Pol Pot, we saw last week. They lied about their harvest, probably because if they reported a short harvest, they would get killed.
In order to avoid humiliation and punishment. On top of this, there were 3 years of floods and droughts. There was also the Backyard Steel program, which called for farmers to leave their farms and enter factories to smelt steel, a job in which they had no experience.
They had no training. Same thing as Pol Pot. Pol Pot took the people out of the cities and put them on farms, and they had no experience farming. So a lot of similarities here that we're seeing. But it always starts with a idea for a prescription for a cultural problem that all societies agree on, that we have this problem we got to fix. Inequality. We got to have equality. We got to force equality on people. And this is what it leads to. This is the downfall of it. You can't take a farmer and put him in a steel mill, take all the farmers and put them in steel mills, and you wonder why your crops are going down and your steel is coming out crappy. You can't take a bunch of people from the city and put them on farms and wonder why no food's getting grown, because they're doctors. They don't know how to work a field.
Many wasteful projects were pursued as well.
Terraces,
for example, dams were built in the wrong locations, and in some cases, dams were built so poorly that they would eventually burst. All of this stuff led to massive famine.
I don't do isms. No, I said you're a commie. There's no ism there.
All over China, and in the end, around 40 million people starved to death between 1959 to 1961. I should note that this number varies a lot, but almost all sources agree that the number of...
Now, you're allowed to question the number of people that Mao killed. You're allowed to question the number of people that Pol Pot killed. I think we're going to see a running theme where people question the number of deaths to all the different dictators. It's always up for debate and discussion, except for one dictator who we're going to save for last. You're not allowed to question the amount of people he killed. But 40,000. And people will always throw the other guy who killed 11 million people. Solid number. No debate, no discussion. 11 million. 6 million were Jewish. Do not question that. You're not allowed to question that. But everybody forgets about Mao killing 40 million people. But we can debate that. Maybe it was 20 million. Still way more than 11 million.
Chinese people that starved during this time is in the tens of millions. Following the massive failure that was the Great Leap Forward, Mao Zedong took a step back from power. He maintained his position, but some of his responsibilities were shifted to others within the party. 6 years later, he returned. He claimed that many bourgeoisie capitalist elements had sprouted like weeds within China, and the communist...
Isn't it pronounced bougie? Bourgeoisie? Isn't it just pronounced bougie? Isn't all that all that bourgeoisie, isn't all that silent and it's just pronounced bougie? Or is bougie the slang abbreviation of bourgeoisie? The bourgeoisie and the proletariat. So now we're getting into Marxism, which is, the founding ideas of communism. But a lot of the communists didn't like Marx, but they did take some of his ideas.
The system was under threat. He rallied many young people, and they became Red Guards. These Red Guards caused chaos, and millions were killed, and many educated intellectuals within the cities were sent to prison labor camps to be re-educated. In the midst of the Cold War, U.S. President Richard Nixon wished to pursue a policy of peace with the Eastern Bloc. This policy became known as Détente. In 1972, Richard Nixon met with Mao Zedong. During this meeting, there actually wasn't much accomplished, since Mao Zedong was suffering from Parkinson's disease. 4 years later, on September 9, 1976, Mao passed away. After his death, his successor, Deng Xiaoping, implemented many free market reforms. China to this day is still considered an authoritarian communist country, but really it now actually does have many capitalist features. Now let's discuss his legacy. In the West, he's often viewed as a tyrannical and inept dictator who allowed tens of millions of his own countrymen to die through evil and stupid policies. In China, it is acknowledged that the Great Leap Forward failed, but the perception of him is nowhere near as bad. Although they acknowledge his failures and weaknesses, he is officially viewed as a powerful revolutionary. In fact, his body was embalmed, and there's a mausoleum where you can visit and see his body.
What? They just keep his body in a glass tank and it stays fresh?
Well, that's all for this video. If you liked it and can afford to do,
I can't afford to, but I can't afford to shout you out. Learn Runner is the channel. Learn Runner. He's only got 2.6 thousand subscribers, so go check it out. Pretty good little informative little video there. Now let's just do some basic research here. Mao Zedong was a Chinese politician, Marxist theorist, so he did like Marx, military strategist, poet, and revolutionary who was the founder of the People's Republic of China. You see that? You see that? This is what I tried to explain, that just because a country calls themselves something does not mean that is their political. The People's Republic of China was never a republic. It was communist, but they called it a republic. Same way America calls itself a constitutional republic when we're actually a socialist democracy. He led the country from its establishment in 1949 until his death in 1976, while also serving as the chairman of the Chinese Communist Party during that time. So see, the party is called the Chinese Communist Party. The country is the People's Republic of China. But it's ran by communists, so there's nothing Republican about it. Even though Republican is baby leftism. A lot of people don't get that. So where's some images? Let's see. You think this guy was attractive, Terry? Is there something wrong with you? Look at it. Is this a ghastly giant Zedong statue? Is this real? It looks fake. That looks fake. Is that real? Public confounded as Chinese entrepreneurs erect ghastly giant Mao Zedong statue. The statue took 9 months to complete and cost roughly $500,000. This is from ArtNet, which is a .com. I don't know how reliable this is, but is this real? 2016. It looks fake. Doesn't that look fake? Is that real? Towering goldstone statue of communist leader Mao Zedong has been erected in rural fields of China's impoverished Henan province. A group of anonymous local entrepreneurs who reportedly funded the project for 3 million won, or $460,000. The statue has prompted onlookers around the world to question why anyone would want to memorialize such a controversial figure. Well, they still deify him in China, I guess. Is that... Looks like a Trump statue. I know, we need one of these of Trump, though. For real. He hit the wall hard. Oh, when he was young, he was good looking. Oh, okay. So, like here? You know who that looks like. You know who this looks like, right? Nada. Nada. What's going on, bro? Tell me what's going on, Nada. Why are you identical to a young Mao Zedong? Nada. We gotta talk, man. You might need to do a 23andMe, my boy, because your great-great-grandpa might be Mao. That's Nada. That is Nada. Bro. Bro. See, look, this is fake. This is fake. This can't be real. Look, apparently there's a lot of statues of him. Is this real? There's no way this was real. Is this rock? They have a Mount Rushmore in dang China of Mao? Is this real? Stop giving me cookies. Okay, I'll accept the cookies. Jeez. Fine. Get out of here, pop-ups. 2 tourists posed for a photograph in front of a statue of young Mao Zedong in Changsha, Hunan province. Is that real? Bro, that can't be real. How would you carve that out of that rock? It would have had to have been a huge rock. You would have had to carve away. Is this real? I guess they're both real. Huh. Cookies. He looks nothing like that. Not as good looking too. No, I look much better than that guy. Bro, this looks like you for real. There's young Mao. Apparently he's got a lot of statues. This does not look real though. The gold one doesn't look real either. Apparently it is real. Changsha. Bro, that's a crazy sculpture because think about what you had to have. Think about the substance you have to carve this. That means this rock had to have been like, probably it was a mound and it was probably went up to here and they had to carve all of this out and leave this standing. Or maybe it was a rock and there was like a big bump here. But that's pretty crazy. Now, I'm not sure how big it is. It may just look bigger than it is. No, that's pretty freaking big. That's crazy. Anyway, let's read a little bit about him. Mao Zedong was a Chinese politician, Marxist theorist. We already read that. Mao was the son of a prosperous peasant in Shaoshan, Hunan, supported Chinese nationalists and had an anti-imperialist outlook early in his life, and he was particularly influenced by the events of the Xinhai Revolution of 1911 and May 4th movement of 1999. He later adopted Marxism-Leninism while working at Peking University as a librarian and became a founding member of the Chinese Communist Party, leading to the Autumn Harvest Uprising in 1927. During the Chinese Civil War between Kuomintang and the CCP, Mao helped to form the Chinese Red Army and led the Jianghui's Soviet radical reform land reform policies and ultimately became head of the CCP during the Long March, although the CCP temporarily allied with the KMT under the Second United Front March. Although the CCP temporarily allied with the KMT under the Second United Front during the Second Sino-Japanese War. China's civil war resumed after Japan's surrender and Mao's forces defeated the nationalist government, which withdrew to Taiwan in 1949. We heard a lot of this in the video. English romanization of name. During Mao's lifetime, the English language media universally rendered his name as Mao Zedong, using the Wade-Giles system of transliteration for standard Chinese, though with the circumflex accent in the syllable "say" dropped due to its recognizability. The spelling was used widely even by the PRC's foreign ministry after Hanyu Pinyin became PRC's unofficial romanization system for Mandarin Chinese in 1958. The well-known booklet of Mao's political statements, The Little Red Book. I'll kind of want to read this. Was officially entitled, I wonder if I can get this for free on Google Books. A lot of these political books, like I got the Communist Manifesto. I got a bunch of free books. I got Meditations from Marcus Aurelius and a bunch of political and theological, philosophical books for free. Was officially entitled Quotations from Chairman Mao Zedong in English translation. While the pinyin-derived spelling Mao Zedong is increasingly common, the Wade-Giles-derived spelling Mao Zedong continues to be used in modern publications to some extent. Right. I always thought it was Mao Zedong. But then when I started this and I was looking into him, it was Mao Zedong. Ha! You said dong. He said dong. Mao Zedong. But yeah, I always saw it as Mao Zedong. Born in 1893, formerly impoverished peasant. Described his father as stern disciplinarian who would beat him and his 3 siblings. His mother was a devout Buddhist. Another Buddhist mama, same as Pol Pot, a devout Buddhist mama. And now a lot of women are getting into Buddhism, so we're going to have a lot of commies growing up. But luckily, they're not reproducing. They'll just abort their babies, because I guess Buddhism in America supports abortion. That makes sense. Who tried to temper her husband's strict attitude. That Daisy lady was on whatever with Andrew Wilson the other night. Daisy is the lady that apparently got pregnant by the guy from Fresh and Fit, and she's a Buddhist too. And she got an abortion, so that's interesting. Mao too became a Buddhist, but abandoned his faith in his mid-teenage years and became a communist. Funny how Buddhist mamas lead to communist dictators. Learning the value of Confucianism, he later admitted that he did not enjoy the classical Chinese texts preaching Confucian morals, instead favoring classical novels like Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Water Margin. Water Margin is one of the earliest Chinese novels written in vernacular Mandarin. It is one of the 4 classic Chinese novels that is attributed to the Shinan. It's also translated as Outlaws of the Marsh and All Men Are Brothers. At age 13, Mao finished primary education. His father united him with an arranged marriage to a 17-year-old Lu Yizu, thereby uniting their landowning families. Mao refused to recognize her as his wife, becoming a fierce critic of arranged marriage and temporarily moving away. Luo was locally disgraced and died in 1910 at 20 years old. I wonder how she died. He read voraciously, so Mao was smarter than Pol Pot. Pol Pot could barely read. He was kind of dumb. He just got into college in France because they were trying to build little commies leading up to the French Revolution. A bunch of little anarchist commies, which is what we have all over college campuses now. Anarcho-commies. It sounds like a contradiction, but it is a thing, I guess. Mao was inspired by the military prowess and nationalistic fervor of George Washington and Napoleon Bonaparte. Now, he was not an anarchist. He was a dictator, but I'm saying the French Revolution led to a bunch of anarchy and communism spreading over the world. They helped with that. His political views were shaped by Guillohao-led protests, which erupted following a famine in Changsha, the capital of Hunan. Formal school. He went to school from 1912 to 1919. He was elected secretary of the Student Society. He organized the Association for Student Self-Government and led protests against school rules. Mao published his first article in New Youth in April 19. So he's way smarter than Pol Pot, instructing readers to increase their physical strength to serve the revolution. Revolution! He joined the society and according to the Muslims, a certain group of people had their finger in all of this stuff too. So, and I think one of these dictators whose name rhymes with Schmittler might agree. He joined the Society for the Study of Wang Fuzi, a revolutionary group founded by Changsha literary who wished to emulate the philosopher Wang Fuzi. What's chat saying? Communist is the mama monarch of the Catholic religion, just building layers of deception. Why did she lay down with a man whose child she didn't want? Are you talking about glad she's not having that man's baby, though? Yeah, but did you watch it? Poor Daisy did get roasted. Did you watch it? All they do is place blame on the men. You laid with that man. They're saying that it's against the law for a man to coerce a woman into getting into keeping a kid. They said it's coercion if you try to get her to get an abortion, but it's also coercion if you try to tell her not to get an abortion. I don't know where these girls are coming up with this crap. And it's only a woman's decision. It's her body, her choice. The man doesn't get to decide if you killed the baby or not. His baby. Anyway, my Daisy BB gun rules. Osho had his cult here in Oregon. Who's Osho? I've never met an intelligent Daisy. What is Osho? I don't know what that is. I think my dad's mom was raised Buddhist, but my aunt got her to become Christian. Nice. Cool aunt. Based aunt. Based aunt. Alert. Based aunt alert. Bro, that's nada. That is nada. Bro. You think that guy's attractive, Terry? I guess that's not nice if I say he looks like Nada and then I say he's not attractive. I'm sorry, Nada. What the heck? Anyway. All right, enough Wikipedia. Let's learn. Should I read all of this? How long can I get through all of this? The Chinese Revolution of 1949. On October 1st, 1949, Chinese Communist leader Mao Zedong declared the creation of the People's Republic of China. The announcement ended the costly full-scale civil war between the Chinese Communist Party and the Nationalist Party of Kuomintang, which broke out immediately following World War II and had been preceded by an on-and-off conflict between the two sides since the 1920s. The creation of the PRC also completed the long process of governmental upheaval in China begun by the Chinese Revolution of 1911. The fall of mainland China to communism in 1949 led to the United States to suspend diplomatic ties with PRC for decades. Communists entering Beijing in 1949. The Chinese Communist Party, founded in 1921 in Shanghai, originally existed as a study group working within the confines of the First United Front with the Nationalist Party. Chinese communists joined with the Nationalist Army in the Northern Expedition of 1926 to 27 to rid the nation of the warlords that prevented the formation of a strong central government. This collaboration lasted until the White Terror of 1921, when the Nationalists turned on the Communists, killing them or purging them from the party. After the Japanese invaded Manchuria in 1931, the government of the Republic of China faced a triple threat of Japanese invasion, communist uprising, and warlord insurrections. Frustrated by the focus of the national leader, Chiang Kai-shek, on internal threats instead of the Japanese assault, a group of generals abducted Chiang in 1937 and forced him to reconsider cooperation with the Communist Army. As with the first effort at cooperation between the nationalist government and the CCP, the Second United Front was short-lived. The nationalists expended needed resources on containing the communists rather than focusing entirely on Japan, while the communists worked to strengthen their influence in rural society. During World War II, popular support for the communists increased. U.S. officials in China reported a dictatorial suppression of dissent in nationalist-controlled areas. These undemocratic policies, combined with wartime corruption, made the Republic of China government vulnerable to the communist threat. The CCP, for its part, experienced success in its early efforts at land reform and was lauded by the peasants for its unflagging efforts to fight against Japanese invaders. Almost done. Chiang Kai-shek. Japanese surrender set the stage for the resurgence of civil war in China, though only nominally democratic. The nationalist government of Chiang Kai-shek continued to receive U.S. support. Of course it did, both as its former war ally and as a sole option for preventing communist control of China. U.S. forces flew tens of thousands of nationalist Chinese troops into Japanese-controlled territory and allowed them to accept the Japanese surrender. The Soviet Union, meanwhile, occupied Manchuria and only pulled out when Chinese communist forces were in place to claim the territory. In 1945, the leaders of the nationalist and communist parties, Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong, met for a series of talks on the formation of a post-war government. Both agreed on the importance of democracy, a unified military. See, commies love democracy. And equality. They love equality too. Equality means everybody's poor and everybody dies. For all Chinese political parties. The truth was tenuous, however, and in spite of repeated efforts by U.S. General George Marshall to broker an agreement, in 1946, the two sides were fighting an all-out civil war. Years of mistrust between the two sides thwarted efforts to form a coalition government. As the Civil War gained strength from 1947 to 1949, eventually communist victory seemed more and more likely. Although the communists did not hold any major cities after World War II, they had strong grassroots support, superior military organization, and morale. The large stocks of weapons seized from Japanese supplies in Manchuria. Years of corruption and mismanagement had eroded popular support for the nationalist government. Early in 1947, the ROC government was already looking to the island province of Taiwan, off the coast of Fujian province as a potential point of retreat. Although officials in the Truman administration were not convinced of the strategic importance to the United States of maintaining relations with nationalist China, no one in the U.S. government wanted to be charged with facilitating the loss of China communism. Military and financial aid to the floundering nationalists continued, though not at the level that Chiang Kai-shek would have liked. In October of 1949, after a string of military victories after a string of military victories, Mao Zedong proclaimed the establishment of the PRC. Chiang and his forces fled to Taiwan to regroup and plan for their efforts to retake the mainland. The ability of the PRC and the United States to find common ground in the wake of the establishment of new Chinese state was hampered by both domestic politics and global tensions. In August 1949, the Truman administration published the China White Paper, which explained past U.S. policy towards China based upon the principle that only Chinese forces could determine the outcome of their civil war. Unfortunately for Truman, this step failed to protect his administration from charges of having lost China. The unfinished nature of the revolution leaving a broken and exiled but still vocal nationalist government and army on Taiwan only heightened the sense among U.S. anti-communists that the outcome of the struggle could be reversed. The outbreak of the Korean War, which pitted the PRC and the United States on opposite sides of an international conflict, ended any opportunity for accommodation between the PRC and the United States. Truman's desire to prevent the Korean conflict from spreading south led to the U.S. policy of protecting the Chiang Kai-shek government on Taiwan. For more than 20 years after the Chinese Revolution of 1949, there were few contacts, limited trade, and no diplomatic ties between the two countries. Until the 1970s, the United States continued to recognize the Republic of China, located on Taiwan, as China's true government and supported that government's holding the Chinese seat in the United Nations. So that is the Chinese Revolution of 1949. The Deadliest Dictator, Mao Zedong, Forgotten History. Is this the one we just watched? No, this is different. Okay, we'll watch this to wrap it up. We're going to get a lot of the same information here, but we're just making sure it all gets covered. This is Forgotten History. They got some cool videos.
Mao Zedong, also pronounced Mao Zedong, was the most impactful Chinese leader in history. His ruthless approach to establishing his brand of communism saw perhaps 20 million people or more killed from the 1920s to 1940s during famines, civil war, and persecution. From 1958 to 1969 alone, it is estimated that over 70 million more people were tortured, executed, placed in gulags, or intentionally starved to death under the great communist leader Chairman Mao. Why did he follow a path that was so self-destructive for his country? What is his legacy as a leader and communist icon? What do we see occurring in China today that may harken back to the dark ages of Mao's reign of terror?
Hello, I'm Colin Heaton, former soldier, Marine Corps scout sniper, history professor, historian, and book author. And we've answered these.
I'm reading right now. Mao is considered one of the most influential figures of the 20th century. Mao's policies were responsible for a vast number of deaths, with estimates ranging from 40 to 80 million victims due to starvation, persecution, prison labor, and mass executions. And his government has been described as totalitarian. 40 to 80 million. That's a big range. That's a big range.
Questions and other issues on this segment of Forgotten History.
This game.
Okay, I know.
You're not ready.
Mao Zedong was born on 26 December 1893 in Shaoshan Village, Hunan Province, the son of a wealthy peasant farmer, Mao Yichang. And he and his two brothers, Zemin and Zitan, had a comparatively excellent education. At age 8, Mao was sent to Shaoshan Primary School. In 1911, Mao began middle school in Changsha, and at 16 attended the higher primary school in nearby Dongshan Province, which was high school. Mao also became a Buddhist like his mother, Wen Qimei, but later became a devoted follower of communism and Leninist Marxist teachings from his early days.
Isn't it interesting how they talk about Leninism and Marxism as if it's a religion? He said he was raised Buddhist, but later he became a Marxist-Leninist. So, like, he converted to a new religion, which is Marxism and Leninism. And I like the way that he did that because it is basically a religion. Your political ideology is not much different than a religious ideology. They go hand in hand. There is no separation of church and state. That's dumb.
During this time, revolutionary winds were already blowing against Emperor Puyi and the Manchu dynasty, as Sun Yat-sen, an American-educated Christian, led the Tongminghui Society,
human farming,
striving for
I'm a land farmer, motherfucker,
Republican form of government, which Mao supported. Mao and many others felt that the monarchy was authoritarian and did not care about the people.
Oh, monarchies are authoritarian. Where's the producer at? Did you know that? Did you know that theocracies and monarchies and nationalism can all be dictatorial or authoritarian or totalitarian, as well as the left? Authoritarian does not mean communist.
That they collaborated with the European powers and the Japanese who occupied Chinese soil, hence the rebellion from many sectors of society. As a result,
that is an oxymoron, isn't it, stubborn one? A wealthy peasant. Isn't peasant implies that you're lower class? Maybe not poor, but yeah, you're right.
As a result of the mass movement by several political factions, the monarchy was abolished, creating the Republic of China. But as a consolation, the monarchist Yuan Shikai became president. As a boy, Mao was very well read and interested in history, and he was inspired by military leaders and their campaigns. He studied Napoleon Bonaparte, George Washington, and American Civil War generals, as well as
Sun Tzu. So this is from The Art of War. I have The Art of War on my shelf out there. Just so you know, when people are like, oh, Sun Tzu was so smart and there's so much knowledge in The Art of War. Really, there's not. It's really not that great. Like, I think Sun Tzu is way overrated. I think The Art of War is overrated. When you read it, a lot of it is just common sense, but he says it in a Confucius say, girl who sit on judge's lap get honorable discharge. Just because he says it in like an Asian way, people think it sounds wise. And really, there's a lot of stuff in it that's just wrong. Just blatantly wrong. Doesn't make any sense, and this is why they lose a lot. They're winning now. China's winning now, but strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. Like, that sounds deep, but is it really?
The Art of War by Sun Tzu. He saw that these men struggled and fought for what they believed in, whether to create a new nation or fighting to preserve one in turmoil, which inspired him. By the time he entered Peking University, he had studied politics and philosophy, such as Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations and Montesquieu's The Spirit of the Laws, as well as the works of Western scientists and philosophers. Mao believed that centralized government control would be better for the people than a free...
I haven't read all of it, so I can't give a full review of it, but it's not the type of book that you gotta... It's kind of like a Bible. You don't gotta read it from the front to the back. You can kind of just open it up and pick a paragraph and get a little word of wisdom there, but I noticed that a lot of it is not that wise. That's my quick review from not reading all of it, that it's overrated. But one day I'll read all of it and then I'll give a book review.
Market that created competition, where the worker was at a disadvantage and disposable to those who controlled industry.
That's why I got it, Nada, because I hear so much about it. I was like, oh, this is one of those books. Everybody's always like, have you read The Art of War? Have you read The Art of War? Usually when people say that, they haven't read The Art of War. Because if you read The Art of War, it's not that impressive. Like, it's almost like a bunch of little nursery rhymes.
He also studied men such as Charles Darwin, Immanuel Kant, John Locke,
Men who
John
sit
Stuart
on
Mill, and other influential thinkers.
Men who eat many prunes. Confucius say, Sun Tzu say, man who eat many prunes sit on pot for many moons. Most translations of The Art of War today are from the perspective of business. That could be it. It could have something to do with lost in translation or a language barrier. Maybe if you read it in Chinese, it would be more like prophetic. But in English, a lot of it just doesn't work. Maybe that's why.
It is known that he kept a copy of Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince and the Discourses as a reference guide. Mao also studied the American military campaigns in the West during the Indian Wars, as he saw the defiant nature of the American Indian tribes inspiring. These may have influenced his mindset as he later became a light infantry and guerrilla leader.
I'll show you my...
Mao, like most Chinese, were very upset that Japan had been given Germany's former colony in China. Confirmed in the Treaty of Versailles, as Japan had been a member of the Allies in World War I. Unrest was rising in the country at Japan's partial occupation, which began in 1919. After graduation, Mao had begun teaching history at the Zhuyi Primary School and was instrumental in organizing protests against the pro-Dewan governor of Hu.
This is my Art of War. The Barnes & Noble at the mall near where I live was closing, so they had books on sale. And this, it's gold bound. It's got the bookmark. It's The Art of War. It's got The Art of War, the Tao Te Ching, Confucian Analects, The Great Learning, The Doctrine of the Mean, and the works of Mencius. So it's more than just The Art of War. This is a bunch of books, a bunch of Eastern thought books. But I got this for like $4. So it was like a $20 book that was on discount for $15. And then since the store was closing, they did more discounts on top of that. So I ended up getting this like $30 tome for like $4. I had to get it. But, you know, I'm more interested in the writings of Confucius. Okay, so The Art of War. By discovering the enemy's dispositions and remaining invisible ourselves, we can keep our forces concentrated, while the enemies must be divided. Okay, it's kind of like common sense. The conclusion is perhaps not very obvious, but Chang Yu, after Mei Yao Qin, rightly explains it thus: if the enemy's dispositions are visible, we can make for him in one body, whereas our own dispositions being kept secret, the enemy will be obliged to divide his forces in order to guard against enemy attack for every quarter. So I wonder, was this written before was it the Spanish-American War? Which was the war in America? Was it the Civil War? It might have been the Civil War. I think the South was using tactics that they had learned from Native Americans, because we used to fight like the British. We would just line up on a battlefield and shoot at each other until everybody was dead on one side. And I think it was the Civil War or the American Revolution or something, we started using things we had learned from Indians, because the Indians wouldn't do that. The Indians would be hiding in the bushes and they would jump out at you while you're going down the trail. And so we started doing that stuff instead of lining up. And so I wonder if this was written before or after that happened. Because if it's written after that happened, then they're just stealing from what they saw in America. If it's written before, then maybe we got it from them a little bit. But I'm pretty sure we did it in America first. And I'm pretty sure the Indians were doing it before we started doing it in America. So, if nothing else, it will make you appear 20 IQ just by exactly Star One. That's why I bought it. That's exactly why I bought it. Because I have it and I can say, look, I do have The Art of War. If somebody says, have you ever read The Art of War? I'd be like, yeah, I got it right here. And I got a bunch of other Eastern stuff. And it's a really cool looking book. So definitely Stubborn One. I thought the same thing. Nor did my leftist education impress anyone other than myself. Yeah, I have a bunch of books and I read them very slowly too. I used to read like a book every 4 days. Now not so much. Because of the internet.
Hunan province, Zhang Jingyao, who earned the nickname Zhang the Venomous due to his corrupt government and violent rule against dissenters.
Ad.
Mao also
Let's get
delved
through
deeply
this.
into the writings of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, keeping a copy of the Communist
Engels
Manifesto.
and Marx.
This would later become his Bible, as he
That's a really small Bible. Communist Manifesto is like 60 pages. It's like a pamphlet. It's a little piece of book. It's just a little piece of book. That's your Bible?
developed his own thoughts and philosophies. He firmly believed in the concept of universal wealth and land distribution, so that no one would be wealthy at the expense of others who would be left in poverty. His military strategies and political policies and theories are collectively known as Maoism. Mao was also influenced by one of his old teachers, Yi Peiji, a revolutionary and member of the Kuomintang, or KMT, which Mao joined. The KMT wanted a China free of Japanese influence and occupation and modeled on the Western capitalist paradigm with free markets, industrialization, and free trade. The wealthy landowners were the primary members of the KMT, which Mao found to be anathema to his communist concepts of shared land and shared wealth. This division would be the catalyst for the break between the two factions. When party leader Sun Yat-sen died in May 1925, he was succeeded by Chiang Kai-shek, who moved to distance the KMT nationalists from Mao's communists. Mao had initially supported Chiang's National Revolutionary Army, whom he saw as a potential ally against the Japanese, as Chiang launched the Northern Expedition attack on the warlords in 1926, who Mao had also been fighting.
Bro, Tomas, those game ads, the people that are playing the game in the game ads suck at math. When it's one of those shooting games, it'll be like, and you get power up based on which one you shoot. It'd be like +2 or ×5, and they'll shoot the +2. And I'm like, you're an idiot. Why is this an ad for the game? This person can't do basic math. Like, you suck at this game, bro.
Spurred on by this expedition, many peasants supported Mao and rose up and confiscated the land of the wealthy landowners who supported the KMT and who were often killed. These actions further alienated the KMT nationalists from the communists. Many KMT members were landowners and were not on board with communist land redistribution.
Right.
In 1927, Mao supported the communist separation from the capitalist-oriented KMT, and he moved to have Chiang removed from power.
You make all the upper middle
advocated
class
for the
poor.
death penalty or life imprisonment for
They don't
anyone
like that
found
too
guilty
much.
of counter-revolutionary activity,
I have a
such
cookie jar that
as
looks like a small
resisting
stack of
land
books.
redistribution,
Nice.
arguing that in a revolutionary situation, peaceful methods cannot suffice. This land confiscation and redistribution disaster finally severed relations. During the Chinese Civil War between the KMT and the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, Mao founded the Chinese Workers' and Peasants' Red Army. During 1927, Chiang marched on the communist stronghold of Shanghai and unleashed the Green Gang, a notorious criminal organization who murdered at will, killing up to 25,000
Yeah.
pro-communist Chinese.
You think they do that on purpose, stubborn one? Because you see how bad they suck at the game in the ad, and you're like, bro, I could easily get a high score in that game if that's the ad. The guy in the ad is that bad at the game. I gotta get this game just to see if I can do better than the guy in the ad. You're right. That could be true.
This was when the Red Army was created, and Mao became an important commander. Mao proclaimed that even the lame, the deaf, and the blind could all come in useful for the revolutionary struggle, and he increased the army's numbers. Mao had openly called Chiang a puppet of the imperialists and a slave to the capitalists, and branded him an anti-revolutionary, which was a correct assessment. He incorporated two groups of bandits into his army, numbering an additional 1,800 soldiers. He had laid down rules for his soldiers: prompt obedience to orders, all confiscations were to be turned over to the government, and nothing was to be confiscated from poorer peasants. In doing so, he created a very well-disciplined and efficient fighting force. Mao joined forces with two leaders, General Zhu De and Lin Biao, whose army had almost been wiped out. But Zhu and Mao disagreed on the strategy they should take. Stalin had taken a great interest and supported Mao, and called Zhu to Moscow
Stalin
in
too?
1929, leaving Mao in
Terry?
charge. Part of what helped form Mao's hatred for anything non-communist was when in November, his second wife, Yang Kui, and sister were captured and beheaded.
I think we're pretty much done with the Asian dictators after this, and we get to go to Russia next. Lenin and Stalin.
By KMT General He
Was
Jian.
Lenin Russian? Yeah.
Some believe it was ordered by Chiang. During the Japanese occupation of China in the
USSR.
1930s, Mao's communists were far more effective and reliable in fighting the Japanese forces than was the nationalist Kuomintang army under Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek. Mao led the Red Army of the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP,
Oh, you didn't like Stalin?
the forerunner of the People's Liberation Army,
You got a thing for
to
Asian
evade
guys.
the pursuit of the National Army of the Chinese Nationalist Party, the Kuomintang. The Long March by Mao to escape the nationalists under Chiang lasted from 1934 to 1935, which reportedly covered over 5,600 miles in just over 13 months.
Commie
The march
chips.
was ill-conceived and not well thought out. It started out with about 100,000 people, but less than 8,000 arrived at the end through death.
That's so bad. You have an army with 100,000 people and you march them so long that 92,000 of them died. That's the same thing that happened with Napoleon when he tried to go into Russia. Like, what's wrong with these generals? They're so power hungry and they like get blinded by, I don't know. Was Napoleon a dictator? Should we do Napoleon on Dissecting a Dictator? Was he I don't think he was a dictator. He was a warlord. Or like Genghis Khan, should we do him? I don't think they really fit into the dictator category, but Napoleon did the same thing when he marched all his troops into freezing cold Russia. They don't even got a dang jacket and they're just freezing to death. It's like, bro, turn around. Stop it. You marched 100,000 soldiers and you got to your destination. You had 8,000 left. That's horrible.
From hunger, combat, and exposure.
Now this game looks cool, but it probably plays nothing like this.
While on the Long March, Mao's wife, He Zizhen, had been injured by a shrapnel wound to the head. She traveled to Moscow for medical treatment, and Mao proceeded to divorce her.
I don't have a thing for Asian guys. Some of them are attractive, some of them aren't. Bro, they all look the same. What are you talking about?
And marry an actress, Jiang Qing. Zizhen was thrown into a Russian insane asylum. After the massive Japanese invasion of the rest of China in 1937, Mao's forces functioned as guerrilla units,
That's true stuff.
operating in small units and using hit-and-run tactics, unlike the Chinese nationalists who later fought as a conventional force alongside American and British Commonwealth forces. Mao knew that without the KMT, he would not be able to defeat the Japanese. So he sent a peace offering for an alliance with Chiang, who initially refused. But after Chiang was detained by his own KMT leadership, there was the formation of the United Front, which Stalin strongly endorsed. This alliance was a smart move, because after the destruction of Shanghai and Nanking by the Japanese, the numbers within the army soared beyond 400,000 soldiers, and their counteroffensive killed over 20,000 Japanese soldiers. Once World War II became global in 1939, and Japan began to invade all of Asia and the Southwest Pacific,
Yeah, the horses.
Allied
definitely
commanders
can't
knew
handle
that
the
Chiang
cold
viewed the
Russia.
communists as a greater threat than the Japanese.
French horses.
Trying to get Chiang reined in to fight the Japanese and not the communists proved to be a difficult task.
A French horse is a gay horse.
However, Mao's forces also fought the Kuomintang in an ongoing civil war, only interrupted by Allied intervention to keep both parties focused upon fighting the Japanese. Chiang's response was, "The Japanese will be gone, but the communists will still be here," to justify his use of Allied supplied weapons against Mao and not supporting the war against Japan. U.S. forces met with Mao and the communists as part of the Dixie mission, who reported back to General Stilwell that the communists were better organized, more determined, and definitely more effective at fighting the Japanese than the nationalist KMT under Chiang. However, because the KMT was anti-communist, American military aid went to Chiang at the expense of the communists and Mao, who were supported by Stalin in a limited way. After World War II, the Civil War continued, and the communist forces fighting the nationalist government under Chiang. After the nationalists lost the struggle due to great support from Mao, from Stalin, they were forced to flee to Formosa, later renamed Taiwan. Chiang moved the government to Taipei, Taiwan, where he resumed his duties as President of the Republic of China on 1 March 1950. This was the birth of what became known as the Republic of China, juxtaposed to the Communist People's Republic of China. Mao was now the total ruler of 1/5 of the world's population at that time. In 1958, Mao launched the Great Leap Forward that aimed to rapidly transform China's economy from agrarian to industrial to compete with the industrialized West, which was an avoidable disaster. Mao's attempt to rapidly catch up to the Western industrialized world was a complete failure, as he confiscated farmland to build factories and used his hard currency to purchase steel and other metals to build up China's infrastructure. This forced many millions of Chinese farmers who would have been growing food to migrate to the major cities for work, much of it they were unqualified for, thus launching another great famine, perhaps the largest in history. This ill-conceived action led to the deadliest famine in history and the deaths of up to 55 million people or more between 1958 and 1960.
So see, one thing said 40 million. This says 55 million. Google says 40 to 80 million. So you're always allowed to discuss the death toll, except for one situation. In one certain dictator, you're not allowed to question the death toll.
62. In 1963, Mao launched the socialist education movement, banning pro-Western literature and enforcing a communist indoctrination policy. In 1966, he initiated the Cultural Revolution, a program to remove counter-revolutionary elements in Chinese society which lasted 10 years and was marked by violent class struggle, widespread destruction of cultural artifacts, and a clear demonstration of Mao's mental illness and rising cult of personality. Between 1959 and 1969, he was the chairman of the Chinese Communist Party with undisputed authority. His long-term plan was to export his brand of communism all over the world, hence his various adventures. As part of his plan, China was also heavily involved with other Southeast Asian conflicts, such as the Korean War, where he sent 300,000 soldiers across the Yalu River to support the North Korean Communist leader Kim
Destroying
Il-sung.
statues.
He supported Ho Chi Minh during the Vietnam War,
when they
where
were
he
tearing
gave
down the
sanctuary
statues in
to North
America.
Vietnamese aircraft
That's
evading
actually a
American
common thing
fighters,
throughout history.
and the Cambodian Civil War, which brought Pol Pot and the Khmer Rouge to power. The government under Mao was responsible for vast numbers of deaths, with estimates ranging from 40 to 80 million victims through starvation, persecution, prison
40 to
labor,
80.
and
See,
mass
he said-
executions, not including the deaths prior to 1959, which estimates have as between 30 and 40 million due to starvation and purges.
So really, it was 40 to 80, but then it was 30 to 40 million earlier before that. So really, he's at like 200 million people died because of Mao.
Mao ruthlessly suppressed his people
But
by
we're worried
force,
about Schmidt.
including executions and placing them in
Why?
gulags. He unnecessarily caused the deaths of tens of millions through his mismanagement and lack of understanding as to how to convert an agrarian economy into an industrial one. He also threatened to retake Taiwan by force, but never had the
that guy's about to get
capability.
his head chopped.
He also strived to expand his brand of communism around the world, where we see China's influence even today. Sound familiar? He has been praised in some communist circles for transforming China from an agrarian third world backwater into a leading world power. The claims are that he greatly advanced
That is a lot of
literacy,
people.
women's rights,
They
basic
are ridiculous
healthcare,
margins, right?
primary
He
education.
killed somewhere between 20 and 200 million people. Yeah, like, what? But if we question the 11 million by, a million, maybe it's off by a million or 2 million. That's horrible. You get banned. You can't do that. But meanwhile, Mao is like somewhere between 20 million and 200 million people died under Mao. That's a huge margin of error.
And life expectancy. These successes are always in dispute. His own publication, The Little Red Book, contains his thoughts and philosophies, and was required reading in China, and is still popular today. The results of Mao's reign included murder, torture, the creation of the Gulag system, which still exists,
So he was the first to do gulags?
and several famines that killed so many Chinese that the numbers are still in dispute. Mao may have personally been responsible for up to 100 million deaths, and that is his greatest legacy.
We hope you enjoyed this segment of Forgotten History. Please click like and subscribe for free. And please stay tuned and be engaged and informed. Send us comments if you have questions or even show ideas, and we will respond to all requests and comments as soon as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Shout out Forgotten History. Check out Forgotten History. Okay. That's it, guys. I gotta go. I gotta go to work. So, you're back. You missed the whole thing. You missed where I explained multiple times that authoritarian is not communism. Anyway, guys, Thanks for hanging out. It's been real. It's been fun. But it hasn't been real fun. I got to go to work. I got things to do. It's Monday night. Dreaded Conservative Show. Kicking the week off right. If you like it, tell a friend. If you hate it, tell everybody. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Do all the good stuff. Next week, we'll be looking at Lenin, dissecting a dictator. Moving over to the USSR. The commies. More commies. And then we'll get to the right-wing dictators eventually. But Lenin is next. Then we'll probably do Stalin. But thank you guys for hanging out. Hit the like button, subscribe, tell somebody, share it out. Cashapp, $, Dreaded Conservative, super chats, memberships, all that stuff helps out me, helps out the channel. I want to try to do more streams throughout the week, but it's just tough working at night, sleeping during the day. But I kind of want to review this Pearl and Trent Horn debate because Pearl's a mess. Pearl's a mess. I watched it last night. I kind of want to watch it in the chat, but I'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. God bless everybody, and peace out. Later, Stub One, Nada, Terry, producer, Rome, Tomas, Nada, Jeff Hewitt, Floor. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll see you later. Peace. Lord Spike.